sixth party, bringing the total number of parties registered with the Commission to 135, highlighting Nepal's highly plural political landscape. Meanwhile, CPN-UML has petitioned the Supreme Court demanding the restoration of the dissolved House of Representatives. UML leader Mahesh Bartola confirmed the filing challenging the legality of the dissolution carried out by President Ramchandra Paudel on the recommendation of Interim Prime Minister Sushila Karki. The political crisis follows the Gen Z protest in September, which forced former Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli to step down. The UML argues that the interim government exceeded its constitutional mandate and is now seeking judicial intervention to reinstate parliament. Moving on, Nepal's government has formed a high-level committee to monitor and coordinate infrastructure development in areas affected by the Melamchi drinking water project, one of the country's largest urban water supply schemes. Government spokesperson and Information Minister Jagdish Kharel said the panels will be led by the Secretary of the Prime Minister's Office to ensure integrity, cooperation and implementation. The Cabinet has also approved an organizational survey of the Nepal Police endorsed 37 temporary posts for the Forest and Environment Ministry and accepted the retirement of National Planning Commission's Secretary Gokarnamani Duwadi. In a key move for the power sector, the government will advance environmental clearances and forest land approvals for hydropower projects that already hold survey licenses or power purchase agreements. We'll take a short break here. After the break, more news from Nepal and around the world. Stay with us. In Nepal, rights advocates and experts are using the global 16-day campaign against gender-based violence to spotlight the rising threat of digital abuse, particularly targeting women and girls. This year's UN theme, Unite to End Digital Violence Against All Women and Girls, has resonated strongly in the country where online harassment and discrimination continue to rise. At a national event in Kathmandu, representatives from the Women's Commission, mental health specialists and youth groups urged the government to expand digital safety programs, improve economic inclusion and confront systemic gender discrimination. Nepal has formally observed the 16-day campaign since 1997 amid persistent levels of gender-based violence. Advocates say greater digital awareness and stronger legal protection are now essential to safeguarding women both online and offline. Nepal has kicked off this year's 16-day campaign against gender-based violence observed globally from 25 November to 10th of December under the slogan, "Use technology wisely, end gender-based violence." Prime Minister Sushila Karki launched Nepal's 16-day campaign against gender-based violence, urging the wise use of technology to protect women. She emphasized that ending poverty, curbing corruption, and creating domestic employment are key to reducing violence and empowering women.
गरिबी पनि निवारण गर्नु पर्यो, शिक्षा पनि दिनु पर्यो, समाजमा चेतना पनि ल्याइदिनु पर्यो, रोजगारी सृष्टि गर्नु पर्यो। हाम्रो सबभन्दा ठूलो समस्या भनेको अहिले त के हो भन्दाखेरि रोजगारी नपाएर विदेश जानु र सबभन्दा ठूलो ट्रबल भनेको चाहिँ विदेशमा गएर महिलाहरू प्रताडित हुनु। प्रविधि जुन आयो, यो डिजिटलको प्रविधिहरू आयो, यसबाट मानिसहरूलाई सुविधा त छ छोटो रूपमा भन्नु पर्दा, तर यसबाट पुरुषमाथि पनि हिंसा भएछन्। त्यसपछि बढी मलाई लाग्छ महिलाहरूमाथि नै हिंसा भएछ।
Nepal's Home Minister Om Prakash Aryal says the government's top mandate is to uphold good governance and deliver national elections on schedule. Addressing a provincial security conference in Bhairava, he said the administration has stabilized conditions after a period of unrest and is now focused on ensuring a peaceful transfer of power through the ballot. Minister Ariel dismissed claims that elections cannot be held, saying the government will answer through performance. He also warned of serious revenue leakages in Lumbini province and pledged zero tolerance in enforcing financial discipline and security measures. Now in Janakpur, Nepal, the week-long Bivah Panchami festival brings to life the ancient wedding of Sita and Ram, drawing thousands of pilgrims from Nepal and India. This centuries-old tradition not only celebrates mythology, but also nourishes enduring cultural and people-to-people ties across the Mithila region. Our colleague Rojina Rai takes a closer look.
An age-old ritual and practice that connects two immediate neighbors, Nepal and India, at the popular level. The 7-day Ram Sita Vivaha Panchami culminates Tuesday to the magnanimous end. Thousands of devotees from India as well as the Mithila region throng Janakpur Dham, the vibrant cultural and religious city in Nepal's southern plains. Falling on the 5th day of the waxing moon in November, this festival commemorates the sacred union of Goddess Sita and Lord Ram. The event has long been a metaphor for the cultural and religious harmony between the two neighbors who share popular level relation to the grassroots level. Also, sages and religious leaders from cities like Ayodhya, the birthplace of Lord Rama, arrived to attend the grand reenactment of the divine marriage. At the Janaki temple, the divine wedding ceremony unfolds amid elaborate decorations and traditional rituals. For centuries, this event has served as a cultural bridge between Nepal and India, fostering unity across borders through shared faith and heritage. Following tradition, the bridal procession carrying Goddess Sita departs from the Janaki temple, while the groom's procession carrying Lord Ram departs from the Ram temple. As per Mithila customs, the wedding rituals continue late into the night. More than a festival, Ram Sita Vivaha Panchami symbolizes the enduring cultural and spiritual ties between Nepal and India. Through devotion, ritual, and shared heritage, this celebration continues to unite two countries, reinforcing centuries-old bonds across borders.
Nepal Railway has announced additional train services to accommodate the surge of pilgrims attending the Bivah Panchami festival in Janakpur, marking the legendary wedding of Sita and Ram. Millions of visitors from across Nepal and India are expected for the celebrations. Previously operating 3 daily trips, the railway will now run 5 round trips per day, with each train capable of transporting up to 3,000 passengers. Officials say the expanded services aim to ensure smooth travel and crowd management during one of the region's largest religious festivals. Nepal is set to rebuild one of its lesser-known but culturally significant heritage sites, the Bringareshwar Mahadev Temple in Sunaikot, Lalitpur. A special purification ritual was held today to launch the reconstruction of the shrine, originally built in 1610 in a traditional 2-tier pagoda style. The temple was destroyed in the devastating 1934 earthquake and later damaged again during Nepal's 2015 earthquake. Mayor Chiribabu Maharjan said Lalitpur Metropolitan City will allocate full funding to restore all damaged heritage sites, calling the reconstruction of Bringareshwars a cultural responsibility. Local leaders say the temple, revered by residents for centuries, and believed through historical chronicles to predate even Kathmandu's Pashupatinath complex, will be rebuilt in its original pagoda form. Foundation work begins on January 2nd, underscoring Nepal's wider effort to safeguard threatened cultural heritage. Ambassador of Saudi Arabia to Nepal, Saad Nasser Abdullah Abu Hamid, paid a farewell call on President Ramchandra Paudel at the office of the President's Sheetal Niwas today. During the meeting, they discussed various issues concerning the relationship between Nepal and Saudi Arabia, as well as mutual interest and concerns, according to the office of the President. President Paudel thanks the Saudi ambassador for successfully completing his tenure. We're going for a short break and we'll come back with updates from the international front. Do stay with us. This is NTV World and you're watching Prime Time News. The United States has confirmed that officials are set to meet Russian representatives in Abu Dhabi as part of ongoing efforts to end the war in Ukraine. The announcement comes after a night of renewed airstrikes with 6 killed in Kyiv by Russian attacks and at least 3 killed in Russia's Rostov region by Ukrainian strikes. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has welcomed proposed changes to the controversial 28-point US peace plan, which European allies helped amend after concerns it favored Russia. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, not attending the Abu Dhabi talks, said Moscow has yet to receive the revised plan and expects it to reflect the spirit of the August Alaska talks between Trump and Putin. Chinese President Xi Jinping and US President Donald Trump held a friendly and constructive telephone conversation on Monday. According to Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning, the leaders discussed bilateral relations cooperation, China's stance on Taiwan, the Ukraine crisis, and other international issues. Mao described the talks as addressing matters of common concern, which Xi said are crucial for the stable development of China-US relations. Analysts suggest this call signals both capitals' intent to maintain dialogue amid tensions, underscoring the strategic importance of the two nations' communication channels. Now, at least 9 children and a woman were killed after Pakistani forces bombed a house in Afghanistan's southeastern coast province. Taliban spokesperson said the strike occurred around midnight in Gurbaz district. Additional airstrikes hit Kunar and Paktika provinces, wounding at least 4 civilians, raising fears of renewed conflict along the fragile border. The attacks follow a suicide bombing in Peshawar, which targeted Pakistan's paramilitary Federal Constabulary, intensifying already tense relations between the two countries. The cross-border violence underscores the fragility of ceasefire efforts and the urgent need for renewed diplomatic management. More from the international front when we return from a short break. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended a Hindu flag hoisting ceremony at Ram Mandir in the northern town of Ayodhya to mark the formal completion of the temple's construction. The temple was built on grounds where a mosque stood for centuries before it was torn down in 1992 by Hindu zealots incited by members of Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP). During the ceremony, Modi described the event as a moment of cultural pride and the fulfillment of a centuries-old aspiration for Hindus. The occasion has drawn both praise from supporters as a historic milestone and criticism from opponents who see it as a symbol of religious and political polarization in India. Now, Chinese scientists have uncovered the reason behind the unusually cohesive lunar soil brought back by the Chang'e's 6th mission from the moon's far side. Unlike samples from the near side, this soil is notably sticky and clumpy, sparking intense curiosity among researchers since the mission's 2024 return. A team from the Institute of Geology and Geophysics, Chinese Academy of Sciences, conducted experiments, including funnel and drum tests, to measure the soil's angle of repose, a key indicator of how granular materials flow. The results reveal the far side soil behaves more like cohesive terrestrial soil due to its finer texture, explaining its unusual clumping. The study, published in Nature Astronomy, provides new insights into the geological differences between the near and far side of the moon, offering clues for future lunar exploration. Pianist Julian Cohen staged a record-breaking flash mob near Place de la Concorde, bringing together 300 musicians and 150 technicians for a full-scale YouTube production. Following the viral success of his Bohemian Rhapsody performance, Cohen, alongside his brother Chris's duo violin Phoenix, pedestrianized a street and deployed 50 cameras to capture 5 diverse performances, including a batucada string ensemble, children's choir, and the Republican Guard. Cohen declared that they are breaking every record as the ambitious musical spectacle combined professional choreography with a large-scale street performance. The event drew a crowd of astonished onlookers who joined in the celebration of music and spectacle. It's been another roller coaster month for crypto investors after a 6-week plunge wiped more than $2 trillion from global valuations. Uncertainty over Donald Trump's tariffs and AI tech stocks fueled the crash, but hints of a U.S. rate cut next month has seen investors dip their toes back. Time for sports update. In a commanding display at the ACC Men's Under-19 Premier Cup in Ajman of UAE, Nepal Under-19 beat Saudi Arabia Under-19 by 8 wickets. Saudi Arabia batting first posted 218 for 9 in 50 overs, but Nepal's chase was emphatic. Neeraj Kumar Yadav smashed a brilliant 114 off just 90 balls, anchoring the innings. He was well supported by Vansh Chetri and a calm unbeaten Nishal Chetri, who finished with 66 not out. Nepal reached the target in only 30.4 overs, maintaining a brisk run rate of over 7. The win boosts Nepal's chances as they look to advance through the group stage of the tournament. The team next plays Hong Kong on 27th November. Now, at the Tribhuvan University International Cricket Stadium in Kirtipur, the Kathmandu Gorkhas have posted a target of 157 against the Lumbini Lions in today's lone Nepal Premier League clash. Captain Karan Casey starred with the bat remaining unbeaten on 34 runs of just 11 balls, including 4 sixes and 4 guiding his team to a total of 158 to win. Kathmandu with 1 win and 2 losses from 3 matches so far, sits third on the points table with 2 points, while Lumbini, led by Rohit Podol, has played 2 matches and is aiming for their second victory to climb the standings. With both teams holding 2 points, today's match is crucial for momentum in the tournament. The chase for the Lumbini Lions has now begun, and fans are eagerly watching to see if Karan Kesey's Gorkhas can extend their winning form in this edition of the Nepal Premier League. Now, before wrapping up, let's take a look into the headlines once again. CPN-UML registers for House elections, also moves to Supreme Court to restore dissolved Parliament. Nepal government forms high-level panel to oversee Melamchi project development. Cabinet approves committee to fast-track plan. Nepal pushes for economic inclusion and digital protection amid 16-day violence against women campaign commencement. Ancient rituals and modern pilgrims meet in Nepal's Janakpur for age-old Vivah Panchami celebrations. Amid airstrikes, U.S. officials prepare to discuss revised peace plan with Russia in Abu Dhabi. And Nepal under-19 crossed Saudi Arabia by 8 wickets in ACC Premier Cup opener. Plays Hong Kong next on 27th of November. That is all from NTV World Primetime News for now. Our next bulletin will be at 10 p.m, bringing you the latest updates from Nepal and around the globe. Do join us through our social media and our official website, www.nepaltelevision.com. I am Ipralagi Singh Lama. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful evening ahead.
Welcome to the studios of NTV World in Kathmandu. Public Service Broadcasting PSB Nepal's new initiative to make Nepal more visible and audible to the global audience. Welcome on board.
This is NTV World, facts that speak, insights that matter.
Telling the stories of a changing planet. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Exploring the heartbeat of Nepali creativity. This is NTV World.
The power of story shaped by technology. NTV World.
Unearthing Nepal's hidden heritage. Discovering the timeless Nepal.
Telling the stories that endure across centuries. Where culture breathes, stories
bloom. When the world moves, we make a sense of it. NTV World.
Taste of Nepal. Every recipe, every flavor tells the story.
Journalism in the digital age. Fast, focused, verified.
Stories hold power. Stories reflecting life. Stories of the hinterlands.
Reporting for public service broadcasting.
Reporting for NTV World.
This is NTV World. Welcome to News Hour.
This is NTV World. Welcome to Primetime News.
One story at a time.
Crossing borders, connecting voices, where Nepal meets the world in dialogue. This is NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Voices that connect Nepal to the world, bringing perspective, region and relevance to every story. NTV World, Nepal's perspective to the world.
Stand by. Mic is on.
3, 2, 1, cue.
We are NTV World.
स्वागत छ लुक्लामा तपाईहरुलाई राम्रोसँग आउनुभयो के प्लेनमा डरहरु लाग्नु भएन प्लेन भित्तैमा ठोकेला जस्तो हुन्छ यहाँ त
At an altitude of 2860 meters, Lukla is the starting point of arguably one of the best trekking routes in the world, up to the Mount Everest base camp, finishing above 5,400 meters. Ram is one of hundreds of seasonal porters in the route.
अब यो त मान्छेलाई पनि यस्तै हो सजिलो त सर यो किनभने हिल हुँदैन बेस क्याम्प जाँदा अब क्याम्पको 1000 रुपैयाँ हुन्छ डबल बारी बोकेर अब 2-3 क्याम्प जति हिँडिन्छ त्यतिखेर चाहिँ 5000 जति बस्छ
The route is popular, in fact crowded. This is only for the 2 months of April and May, and so is the profession of Ram a seasonal affair.
अब कुनै खेर पाइन्छ कुनै खेर पाइँदैन मान्छे यतिकै हुन्छ त अब कुनै खेर त अब 4-5 दिन यतिकै बसेकै बजारतिर आयो घुम्यो यतिकै फेरि कोठामा फर्केर आयो अब बाकी खाना खादै बस्यो त्यस्तै हो सर विदेश जाउँ त अब लाग्छ जानुलाई पनि फेरि अलिक गाह्रो छ पैसा चाहिन्छ अब पैसा छैन त्यो पेसामा पढाइ चाहिँ पुरुषहरू नै हुन्छ महिलाहरू पनि आधी उधी हुन्छ बिहानदेखि कहिले अब घाम लागिरहेको हुन्छ एकछिनमा यस्तो बादल आइहाल्छ डुममा भइहाल्छ यहाँको मौसम यस्तै हो सर पढेको भए त बाँकी अब सानोतिनो जबहरू हुन्थ्यो कि
Trekkers pass through nearly 6-7 small hamlets along the Lukla-Namche section of the route.
यहाँ सबै घरमा बिजुली पानीको राम्रो व्यवस्था छ सर
The locals do not have infrastructures or might have resected roads, but they have embraced development.
नाम्चे लुक्ला सबै बाटोभरि नै राख्ने बाटो राखिदिनु भएको छ.
The topography is inhospitable, but the people are friendly.
यहाँ हरेक गाउँको आफ्नो आफ्नै हाइड्रो बिजुली निकाल्ने पावर छ.
Solar panels give much needed warm water to survive the cold. No wonder everything comes at a cost here. Charging a cell phone or getting a Wi-Fi connection.
पहिला साह्रै दुःख पाइयो. मम्मी सानैमा बित्यो. अनि पढ्नै पाएन. यस्तो दुःख गर्नु पर्छ. अब छोराछोरीलाई चाहिँ अब यस्तो दुःख गरेर भए पनि पढाउँछु. अङ्ग्रेजी बोल्ने भए त अब कति अब खैराहरू भेट्छन्. हिजो पनि 4 जना भेटे थियो फाल्टो ग्रुप. अब अङ्ग्रेजी बोल्न जानिदैन त्यही भएर पठाइदियो. ल अब यहाँ चाहिँ खाना खाने ठाउँ हो. यहाँ खाना खानु पर्यो.
हजुर सबभन्दा धेरै थुक्पा नै हो. किनभने अरू खाएको पनि जान्छ नि त जानु त. बनायो भने जान्छ तर त्यो सकिहालेन भने फेरि त्यो बिग्रिन्छ के अमिलो.
Food is no more cooked in fire like in the past, despite LP gas cylinders arriving either on humans' back or the beast of burdens. Our first day trek concludes at Phakding, a small hamlet at an altitude of 2610 meters. Almost all trekkers lodge here on the first day to acclimatize themselves for higher elevations. The place has amenities for travelers at par with an urban town, except roads and infrastructures.
यहाँ यो फलामको चिम्नी नभएको त गरै हुँदैन सर. यहाँ त फलामको चिम्नी गएन भने त जाडोले मर्ने हुन्छ.
As the dawn breaks, Ram emerges from his overnight elopement for lodging.
अब जाने होला सर उकालो. यो अलिक सपना बिग्रियो अनि त्यति राम्रो सुतेन. सपनामा त खै कस्तो अचम्मक सपना देख्यो. सपनामा चाहिँ बुढी चाहिँ अर्कैसँग गएको देखेको. खै केही कुरामा चाहिँ डिस्केस भएको जस्तो भयो. अनि त्यहाँबाट चाहिँ कपडा सपडा प्याक गरेर हिँडेको सपना देख्यो. के गर्न सकिएन. खै कहिले के गर्ने हो मान्छे. बुढी राम्रो छ. सपना चाहिँ त्यस्तो देखेँ. कस्तो अचम्म लाग्यो. बुढी फेरि मभन्दा ठुलो छ कि. मभन्दा त राम्री पनि छ ठुलो पनि छ. त्यस्तो सपना देख्दा चाहिँ कुनै खेर चाहिँ अब डर पनि लाग्छ क्या. बा पछि अब छोडेर हिँडिदिने हो कि अब आफूसँग केही नभएपछि त होइन बा अब हिँडिदिने हो कि जस्तो पनि लाग्छ. यो सागो हो. यो सागो चाहिँ काठको बनाएको. यो बर्खामा ठुलो पानी आउँछ. ठुलो खोला हुँदाखेरि त बगाएर लगिहाल्छ. फेरि बनाउँछ. यो चाहिँ पारी घाँस दाउराको लागि बनाउँछ.
The Khumbu region has more than a dozen suspension and concrete bridges to safely cross the Dudh Kosi, meaning Milk White Kosi and its tributaries. As we continue our steep climb towards Namche Bazaar, we pass through freshly felled pine trees.
यो चाहिँ घरको लागि काठ काटेको हो. यो घरको काठ काट्दाखेरि चाहिँ यो निस्केको दाउरा हो सर. यो दाउरा अब सधैँभरि फुल्दैन. कुनै बेला फुल्दाखेरि चाहिँ काट्ने हो.
Only permitted numbers are cut every year, while the locals do not forget to grow pine saplings in their backyard to replace the cut ones. This is the entry point of Sagarmatha National Park, a buffer zone guarded by Nepal Army. The small hamlet of around 200 houses is no less than a modern town as we venture around the next morning with Ram. We not only discover Ram's free-of-cost night lodge, but also a secret tavern where porters gather to gamble.
टुरिस्ट आएन भने त अब यहाँ त अब गाह्रो छ नि सर अब आलु मात्रै फलाएर अब के खानु यहाँ त्यो पनि अब आलु धेर फल्दैन कम फल्छ टुरिस्ट आएन भने त धेरै गाह्रो छ सर अब छनु त छ कि अझ यो भन्दा राम्रो यो भन्दा नि अब राम्रो अब घरहरू बनाओस् राम्रो सरसफाइ होस् अब राम्रो सुविधा होस् त्यहाँदेखि चाहिँ आउँछ यहाँ त अब त्यस्तो मोटरहरू आयो भने त फेरि हामीलाई गाह्रो भइहाल्छ नि सर अब हामी पोटरहरू फेरि त्यतिकै हुन्छ बेरोजगार हुन्छ अब हाम्रो त अब खै जिन्दगी त अब यस्तोले त अब गाह्रै हो तर अब के गर्नु त सर अब खासै अब के अब गर्ने बाटै छैन हाम्रो अब यही नै हो हाम्रो त
A phone call from Lukla upsets us more than Ram as he misses a much better opportunity to accompany trekkers to the base camp. The weather remains unfavorable as we fail to catch a glimpse of the Mount Everest. With a bit of dejection for not being able to see the roof of the world, we start our journey back to Lukla. On the way, Ram gives us a good news. He got another lucrative trip.
अब चाहिँ अलिक चाँडो जानु पर्ला हो सर अब आजै म फेरि फर्केर नाम्ची पुग्नु पर्ने छ.
Back at Lukla, Ram prepares himself for the 14-day trip to the base camp with high hopes for making decent earning. It's time to part now, as Ram bids us goodbye in a haste in Lukla to make his dream come true. A roof for his wife and education for his little princess.
In the high mountains, where the air thins and silence deepens, an ancient discipline endures. More than art, this is meditation in motion, a prayer woven into canvas, finding the divine within. This is Thanka.
Thanka भने चाहिँ त्यो समतल भूमि भने हो के हैन त्यो स्पेस भने हो त्यो रेसेम पनि तपाईले सेतो गणमा स्पेस देख्यो नि हैन हो त्यसमा चाहिँ का लेख्ने भने चाहिँ बुद्धको वचन लेख्ने भने हो के त्यो बुद्धको वचन भएको चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ शुद्ध छ हैन राम्रो छ त्यसले चाहिँ मानव जीवनलाई चाहिँ कल्याण मानव जीवनलाई मात्र नभएर प्राणी जगतलाई नै चाहिँ कल्याण गर्ने चिज हो थाङ्का त्यही भएर चाहिँ जीवन जिउनेसँग चाहिँ रिलेटेड छ भनेर भने हो त्यो चाहिँ पञ्चतत्त्वको रूपमा चाहिँ त्यो चिनाएर त्यो तत्त्वलाई त्यो ठाउँमा जानुपर्छ भनेरको यो त आशयको रूपमा चाहिँ लगेको हुन्छ
Thangka painting is more than art. It's devotion on canvas, rooted in Buddha philosophy, traditions, and shaped by centuries of Buddhist influence. Each stroke tells a story of enlightenment.
This is not from painter's own mind. This is from the book. So painters, they have to strictly follow the rules. Through meditation, we can understand our true nature. And when we understand our true nature, we understand everybody. And our true nature is compassion. Our true nature is wisdom. And when we practice these things, we find peace, and that peace is permanent.
Thangka painting is not merely creation. It is consecration, rooted in Buddhist philosophy and perfected through centuries. Each brushstroke carries the weight of a mantra, each color a fragment of enlightenment.
खाइबो भन्छ हामीले चाहिँ आर्टिस्टलाई त्यो खाइबाले चाहिँ किन आएर चाहिँ ढोग्यो भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ तीनचोटी ढोग्यो त्यो शरण गमन गरे हो कि म बुद्धको शरणमा छु भन्ने हो त्यो चाहिँ बुद्ध चित्त उत्पाद गर्ने भन्छ कि चित्त तपाईको शुद्ध हुनु पर्यो हैन त्यो शुद्ध भएर लेखेको थाङ्गाले चाहिँ अरूलाई पनि राम्रो गर्ने पनि सबै प्राणी हितको लागि चाहिँ यो मैले गरेको लेखेको बुद्ध वचनले चाहिँ उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ राम्रो होस् भन्ने आशयका साथ चाहिँ छोड्नु पर्छ कि हो यसरी चाहिँ लेखेको हुन्छ थाङ्गा चाहिँ
The Thangka is a visual sculpture, a spiritual map to transcendence. Every artist begins not with imagination, but with surrender to discipline, devotion, and compassion for all living beings. To paint is to meditate. To complete is to awaken. In today's studios, the old and the new converge. Tutors like Sushan Subedi introduce curious travelers to ancient grammar of lines and color.
All of the painting you are seeing over here, so these are known as Thangka, which is a Tibetan word which means the painting that is painted on a cotton surface. Okay, so first of all what we do is, we just take a normal cotton like this and we stretch it on a wooden frame very hardly and very tightly. Okay, so while tying it very hard on normal cotton, what happens is there are some millions of tiny holes. So if you pour the color can bleed. So we cannot do the painting on a normal cotton. So we have a process, we call it the process of canvas.
While at nearby workshops, artists like Sonam still lose themselves in the ritual of creation.
यो चाहिँ बम्बई ड्याङ कटन जुन यसैबाट चाहिँ हाम्रो ट्रेडिसनल आर्टको चाहिँ थाङ्का फर्स्ट प्रोसेसिङ चाहिँ यहीँबाट हुन्छ सरेस भन्ने गरिन्छ हामीले यो चाहिँ खासमा र याक स्किन भनेर चाहिँ प्रयोग गरिन्छ पहिलेको त्यो हिस्ट्री हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ अनि अब यो चाहिँ हाम्रो चाहिँ माध्यम चाहिँ यो ग्लुको काम गर्छ यसले चाहिँ यो र हामीले चाहिँ माटो मिसाएर चाहिँ यसमा पानी लगाएर अब यसको कति मात्रा उ गरेर तताइसकेपछि चाहिँ अनि अब हामीले कत्रो क्यानभस बनाउने कतिवटा बनाउने त्यो हिसाबले हामीले यो सरेस माटो भनिन्छ त्यो मिलाएर मात्रा मिलाएर हामीले प्रोसेसिङमा जानु सकिन्छ हामीले चाहिँ यो क्यानभस बनाउँदाखेरि समयअनुसार मौसमअनुसारले पनि बनाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ। घाम लाग्ने बेलामा बनाउनु सक्यो भने हामीले छिटो आफ्नो कामहरू छिटो छरिदो बनाउन सकिन्छ र झरी पर्ने बेलामा चाहिँ हामीलाई निकै समय लाग्छ। त्यसले गर्दाखेरि यो घाम लाग्ने बेलामा हामीले बनाउनु सक्यौँ भने छिटो अनि यसलाई आफूलाई चाहिने मात्रामा पटक पटक यता दुई साइडमा चाहिँ क्लिन गर्नु सफा गर्नुपर्ने हुन्छ अनि कतिको मात्रा हामीलाई चाहिन्छ त्यो पुगिसकेपछि हामीले त्यसपछि स्केचमा जानुपर्ने हुन्छ। यो सुकिसकेपछि चाहिँ एउटा यसरी पनि हामीले चेक गर्न सकिन्छ हामीले कतिको तयारी भयो भएन। यो आवाज आउनु पर्ने हुन्छ। जस्तै अब ओसिएको छ भने बेग्लै आवाज आउँछ, सुकेको छ भने राम्रो आवाज आउँछ यो।
Thangka painting begins with the canvas stretched tight, once upon wood, now upon iron frames. The glue that seals it, once drawn from the yak, now sourced from the maple or synthesized in a lab. Yet in the scent of drying paste, the artist still reads the readiness of the soul of the painting.
So after the sketching is done, second thing we do is the coloring. So while coloring, we have different levels of artists in our school. Like from the beginner level, we have intermediate and the master level of artists. So if you go with the beginner intermediate, they use the acrylic colors. But if you go with the master level of artists, so they use the stone colors like this. Okay, so why they use the stone color is stone being a natural color. So while we apply this sort of color in the art, it remains for the longer period of time because natural thing, it doesn't have expiry date. Yeah, so the meaning and the philosophy of an art, the art itself, it is preserved for the longer period of time. So that's why they use the stone. And for the finishing of an art, so we use 24 karat real gold on the painting. Okay, so why we use the gold is not to make the painting very expensive, but if you see in Hinduism, in Buddhism, gold it is signified as in purity. So to purify the meaning and the philosophy behind the art, so we use 24 karat real gold.
Every line follows a rule, every proportion holds meaning. The face of the deity isn't imagined, it slowly reveals itself, guided by sacred patterns that keep harmony between the world outside and the spirit within. The colors come from the earth, crushed stones and minerals mixed with glue, made to last for generations. Lapis brings purity, malachite speaks of compassion, and cinnabar carries wisdom. These are just colors, they are prayers in pigment.
प्राचीन कालमा चाहिँ यो थाङ्गा चाहिँ पाँचवटा कलर लेख्ने हो। पाँच कलर जस्तो अग्नि तत्त्व, वायु तत्त्व, माटो तत्त्व, हावा तत्त्व, पाँच तत्त्वले बनाएको हो। त्यो पाँच तत्त्वले किन बनाएको भने त्यो पाँच तत्त्वबाट हाम्रो शरीर बनाएको छ नि। यो थाङ्गा भनेको चाहिँ वास्तवमा के हो भने जे जति थाङ्गामा छ त्यो हामीसँगै छ, जे हामीसँग त्यो थाङ्गामै छ। त्यसकारण त्यो बेला चाहिँ त्यो नेचुरल, हामीले पनि नेचुरली बनाएको हो नि त, प्रकृतिले बनाएको नि, थाङ्गा पनि प्रकृति नै हो। त्यसमा अलिक अहिले चाहिँ कलर के छ भने पाँचवटा कलर पनि हामीले मिसाउँदाखेरि अर्को कलर बन्छ। त्यो पाँचवटा कलर मात्रै पुग्दैन। त्यो बेला त्यो रियालिटी थाङ्गा नजिक बसेर साधना गर्दा हामीलाई त्यो भाइब्रेसन आउँछ, पोजिटिभ कुरा आउँछ। यो त खालि बुद्धले टिकाको टिचिङ गर्नुभएको नेचुरल फेनोमेना छ नि, नेचर माइन्ड छ नि, त्योसँग रिलेटेड छ यो।
Then comes the awakening, the eyes. Until that moment, the thangka is silent. When the artist paints the peoples, the deity is invited to reside within. The canvas breathes, the prayer begins. From quiet Himalayan ateliers to the galleries in Tokyo, Berlin, and New York, thangkas now travel far beyond the monasteries. They adorn homes, museums, and collectors' walls, a global symbol of Nepal's artistic devotion.
Mostly, Thanka word itself is a Tibetan word, so this tradition belongs to Tibetan people. This tradition belongs to Tamang. This tradition belongs to Newar community. Although they have different expression of color, technique, the detail, but this tradition, this culture belongs to this three community, and this is kind of passed on tradition. They learn this skill from their forefather to the new generation. This is how this tradition has been continuing and preserving. So it is beneficial for them to live their life, and it is beneficial for the country because this is a culture, and culture and tradition is the treasure of each country.
The trade sustains thousands. From the hum of Bodh's alleys to export crates bound for distant lands, Thanka has become a vital thread in Nepal's creative economy. Yet, as markets grow, so does the tension between faith and fame, between meditation and merchandise.
कला चाहिँ दुवै राम्रै हो हैन आफ्नो आफ्नै फिलोसफी भन्ने हो यसले चाहिँ तपाईको मन भित्रको डेप्थमा जाने सिकाउने हो यसमा चाहिँ यो चाहिँ मिहिन काम हुन्छ कठिन पनि हुन्छ के किनभने यसमा चाहिँ तपाईले चाहिँ अघिको जस्तो धेरै चीजहरु चाहिँ लिनुपर्छ अनुशासन लिनु पर्यो हैन यसको विधि विधानमा बसेर गर्नुपर्छ यसमा चाहिँ अब त्यो चाहिँ तपाईको मनमा जुन फिलिङ्स आउँछ त्यो लेखिहाल्ने हो के त्यो गर्दाखेरि त्यसले पनि वर्ल्डमा चलिरहेछ यसले चाहिँ नेपालले किन अब त्यसलाई चाहिँ कम्पिटिसन गर्न सक्छ भने चाहिँ यो चीज चाहिँ अरूले गर्न सक्दैन किनभने त्यसमा मेडिटेसन ध्यान जस्तै गर्नुपर्छ के सरकारी स्कुलबाट चाहिँ स्कुलिङ देखि नै गर्नुपर्छ यसको पाठ्यक्रमहरु बनाउनु पर्छ हैन एउटा त्यो गरिसकेपछि यसको प्रमोट हुन्छ हैन हामीलाई चाहिने त त्यो प्रवर्धन हो नि तर ब्याङ्किङहरुले पनि के गर्नु पर्यो भने यसलाई चाहिँ बिना दिदोमा पनि के रे ऋण दिने वातावरण हैन कलाकारको के छुटाएर के अनि तपाईको हामीले ट्याक्स तिर्नु पर्छ ट्याक्स तिर्दाखेरि पनि कुनै एउटा चीज चाहिँ कलाकारलाई कुन ओदामा राखेर त्यसको एउटा ब्यालेन्स एउटा गरेर सरकारले गरिदियो भने यसको जन अझ फ्रस्टिन्छ के फ्रस्टिएपछि त यो नेपालकै लागि चाहिँ यसले चाहिँ पर्यटनलाई पनि विकास हुने अनि त्यो स्कुल कलेजमा भयो भने पुस्ता हस्तान्तरण चाहिँ एकदम दिगो हुन्छ के
All the Thanka has same meaning of peace. So foreigner, they admire philosophy. Practitioner also, they choose deities mostly to practice, to visualize, and they imagine the quality of deities with themselves. And some least person, they want it as a souvenir to decorate for the positive vibe. Some they buy it for the gift for their loved one. Philosophy reminds us about the beautiful quality, and that quality gives us peace, and that peace is everyone searching for. So Thanka painting is very, very important for everyone because it is relevant with our life. If it is relevant with our life, that is truth.
But beyond commerce and canvas, a Thanka is still a mirror, reflecting a way of life where art and spirit breathe as one. Every brush that moves today carries the echo of generations, an unbroken whisper from monastery walls to the modern world. As the sun sets over the Himalayas, somewhere an artist bows before a finished Thanka. His work is now complete, his prayer released. For in every stroke lies a journey, from pigment to prayer, from devotion to eternity. This is not just Nepal's art, it is Nepal's soul, painted into time.
AI brings in a lot of augmentation and efficiency gains, which will not necessarily replace the human, but produce a lot more efficient human, almost like a superhuman, where the person will be able to do more jobs in less amount of time. And that efficiency gains could impact overall economic output, which could then generate a lot more new kind of jobs.
Will they be a misfit in near future?
More and more people should learn how to use some of these tools, because if you don't use it, I don't know if misfit is the word, but you will be left behind.
Welcome to NTV World Insight. In September this year, the country faced its worst unrest in decades, leading to Prime Minister's resignation and raising serious political and economic uncertainty. Nepal's growth has averaged just 4.3% in recent years. Youth unemployment is almost 23%, and a significant portion of GDP comes from remittances, which have prevented around 2.5 million people from falling into poverty. Public investment remains weak, with capital spending at less than 8% of the GDP last year, far below the 10 to 15% that is expected for infrastructure. A recent report by the World Bank has projected economic growth will go down to 2.1% in 2026 before rebounding to 4.7% the year later. Today we discuss how Nepal can restore stability, accelerate reforms and unlock growth with the World Bank Division Director for Nepal, Maldives and Sri Lanka, David Sislin. Welcome to NTV World Insight.
Great to see you again, Sarah.
How long has it been since you came to Nepal, personally or professionally altogether?
It's been just about 18 months so far. It's been the best 18 months of my professional career, and yeah, lots of changes in that 18 months. So very different Nepal today in many respects from a political point of view particularly than what I encountered when I moved here a year and a half ago.
So we've hosted you quite well.
It's been fantastic, absolutely.
When you are free, what do you like doing here in Nepal?
Look, I am an avid golfer, so I spend a lot of time at Gokarna hitting golf balls and cursing, because it's a very difficult place to play golf. And I ride my motorcycle around a little bit, and mostly I spend a lot of time reading about Nepal, its history, its politics, and learning as much as I can about this incredible place.
Apart from golf, is there any other place that you really like to hit to?
You know, I would say that since I'm here without my family and I'm here alone, many of the bartenders in Kathmandu know me well. So I do spend some time out with my friends, enjoying the incredible nightlife in the city.
All right, to begin with, the country partnership framework, the $2.7 billion support project for Nepal. How is it going so far?
Oh, thanks. That's a great question. Look, the World Bank has a long-term partnership with Nepal. We've been here for more than 60 years. We currently have a portfolio program of about $2.2 billion spread across almost 20 projects, ranging from health to education to infrastructure to youth employment. And that has really, I think, reflects the deep engagement that we have in the country. Our new program, that, as we talked about the last time you and I saw each other, is a long-term commitment, a 7-year commitment to the country, is really exciting, mostly because it focuses laser-like on what we think is the most critical issue for the country, and that is jobs. Jobs for youth, but jobs more broadly. Getting an economy that is really driving growth through the private sector and creating jobs is so central to the development challenges of Nepal, and I think we learned a lot about that in September, right? How just truly critical it is. In this coming year, I'll just say that we are really excited because we have a couple of operations that we really think will help jumpstart the jobs agenda. So working with the DCGF, the Development Credit Guarantee Facility, a major investment program in Lumbini, the birthplace of Buddha, and some really exciting work that we hope to start in the coming months around improving air quality in the Kathmandu Valley. So really exciting times, lots of work ahead.
Nepal's public debt, as mentioned in your latest report, is increasing from 43.6% in 2025 to 45.2% in 2026. May I ask how much Nepal currently owes the World Bank, and as a Nepali citizen, how much do I, as an individual, owe to the World Bank?
Let me try to put in a little bit of context, though. I think we're at a time where Nepalis are very critical of the public sector and very critical of the government. But I think one of the things that Nepal and Nepali should be incredibly proud of is the steady, mature, and really world-class macroeconomic management that has taken place over the last decade. Nepal remains at low risk of debt distress. This means that compared to other countries, compared to comparator countries, it is actually doing very well in terms of not borrowing too much money. That increase that you said, a little bit up, is something to be conscious of and to be focused on. But the biggest challenge in Nepal is not the amount of debt, but turning that debt into productive investment, making sure that when you are borrowing from the World Bank or the ADB or the markets or Nepalis themselves, that you are really able to make investments that deliver returns. Now, Nepal, yes, the overall amount of debt that the Republic of Nepal has increased a little bit, but the profile of that debt is very concessional. It's extremely long-term, and the bulk of it, especially the bulk of the international debt, is coming from multilateral development institutions like the World Bank and the ADB. So that's extremely long-term, 30-plus year debt at very, very concessional rates. So there's good debt and there's bad debt, but the most important thing, as I mentioned, is turning that debt, turning that borrowing into development results. And I think that a lot of what we saw in September is frustration, especially among the youth, about not seeing those investments materialize and turn into the kind of results that drive growth and development.
How has it been for you working with the bureaucracy and the government? Is it easy?
Not a question I was expecting from you, Sarah, but thanks for asking. Look, I am amazed every day at the dedication, hard work, and commitment of the civil servants and people in the system, both the politicians and the civil servants. And I say that honestly. Now, I feel sometimes that they're fighting against a system that is overly complex, that is overly difficult to manage. So one of the, I just give an example. It is so difficult to get infrastructure built in Nepal. It just simply takes so long. And that's not because good people of goodwill in the system are not working really hard, because they are working really hard and trying really hard, but the rules are too complex, they're Byzantine. I give the example because we talk about it a lot, but in Nepal, to get a tree cutting clearance, if you want to widen a road or build a piece of critical infrastructure, requires a cabinet approval. There are few countries, I would suspect there is no country in the world where the prime minister needs to weigh in on the cutting of a few trees so that you can widen a critical piece of infrastructure. So I really think that part of the challenge for Nepal is making the kind of policy, legal, institutional, and regulatory reforms that will actually allow those people in the system to deliver the kind of development results that Nepalis are asking for.
When you talk about the tree cutting requirement, conservationists would not accept it, or they would conflict.
You know, look, there's been Nepal is one of the most successful countries in increasing its forest cover, right? The increase in forest cover from the 1970s to today, I forget what the number is, but has been world-class. We're now at a time where actually Nepal's biggest challenge is not in increasing its forest cover, but in doing two things: converting that incredible assets of forests into productive use, and second, making the kind of infrastructure investments that will allow growth and development to really take off. You talked about the growth rate of being at 4.3% in your intro. That is simply too low. Nepal needs to get to that 7 and 8% of growth rate if it wants to reach escape velocity, to get out of this lower income and soon to be lower middle income world that it's living in.
The non-performing loan ratio increased from 3.9% to 4.6% in 2025. What immediate steps would you suggest Nepal should take to reduce the financial sector's vulnerabilities?
Right, so great question, and this is really about the domestic financial sector, the domestic banks. I think it's important to put in, so yes, we've seen a little bit of an uptick in non-performing loans, and this is troubling. But we do need to put in the context. The banking sector in Nepal is quite healthy. Capital adequacy ratios are high and acceptable, and profitability remains solid. But this increase in NPLs and non-performing loans is troubling because it starts to constrain credit growth. And we know that credit growth, lending to private enterprise for making investments and building businesses, is central to the development trajectory in the country. So a little bit troubling. Overall, not a worrying situation in the banking sector right now, but I think it underpins the broader challenge in the country, which is that we don't see investment either by the public sector or by the private sector, and here we're talking about the private sector largely, as being enough and fast enough. So making sure that, that remittance money that's coming in is really being translated into investment and not just consumption. Investment levered by banking loans and not just consumption.
These are all very interconnected. Remittances support our economy, yes.
Absolutely.
But we're trying to also raise jobs. How do we come about, changing the scenario for Nepal? Because definitely, if we continue to be dependent on remittances, it's not going to be sustainable.
Well, you've touched on what I really think, Sarah, is the central story in the Nepali economy. Okay? And it's nuanced. It has good and bad. It's not black or white. Let's be very clear. Nepal has reduced extreme poverty faster than almost any country in human history. And in human history. So when I started my career in the World Bank, extreme poverty in Nepal was 55%. And today it is 0.37%. It's almost zero extreme poverty. That's at a low level. And that has happened almost exclusively because of this remittance flow. Last month, 200 billion rupee, about 1.5 billion US dollars, came in remittances. Right? This is $2 million US dollars per hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for a month. I mean, a remarkable story. But it hasn't translated into investments, private sector growth, and job creation that we really wanted to see. It's not a bad thing, remittances. It has been the lifeline of the country. It has been the backbone of the country's growth and development story. But as this country becomes more urbanized, as people are having less babies, as that demographic bulge starts to pivot, it will be really important to translate or translate into a situation where jobs are created in the country. We have 2,000 young Nepalis a day leaving the country to work abroad. So you asked me about my time here in Nepal. So I've been here for 18 months, and you can do the math. If 2,000 Nepalis a day are leaving the country, in the short 18 months that I've lived in Budanilkanta, almost 800,000 Nepalis have left the country to work abroad. So this is something that has been the lifeline of the country and will continue to be very important, but we really need to complement it with opportunities in Nepal. We need to give young Nepalis the choice. Do you want to go work abroad, or do you want to pursue a career with good opportunities here in the country. So I really think this is the central challenge of the economy.
When we talk about the use of remittances, the contribution and the importance that it holds, where do you think is the gap in actually using it in sectors that could materialize into something bigger?
Great. It's a great question. I don't have the answer. What is clear is that that massive remittance flow that we talked about, and again, remittances are about 50 times the amount of ODA, of money that comes from the World Bank and the ADB and development partners. So it's 50 times more money every year is coming in remittances, but right now it's mostly being used for consumption. And that's been fantastic. It's paying for private schools, it's paying for private health care, it is paying for your cousin's scooter or your mother's scooter or a television or putting food on the table. But what we're not seeing it translate into is Nepalis whose son, daughter, cousin, mother is abroad taking that money and making productive investments. Because I think there's such concern about the difficulty in running a business in the country. The business environment is not what it should be. That is so challenging. So turning that remittance flow into both productive private investment and also making sure that the government can make use of those resources to make productive public investment is the investment challenge.
Growth is projected to fall to 2.1% in 2026 before recovering to 4.7% in 2027. What do you think can be done to cushion in the short run this downturn?
Right. So we are regrettably projecting a quite significant downturn in growth, largely as a result of the events of September. And the main channel of that has been through the tourism sector. Right, we're seeing a significant decrease in tourism. I think it was down 18% in September and into October, and really expecting that if we see a smooth and peaceful political transition, and if we see the continuation of a serious reform agenda to make that business environment that we just talked about more compelling, to attract foreign direct investment, to reduce red tape, to get much more clarity on issues like taxation and customs, that we would see a return to significantly higher level of growth. We're projecting 4.7 in next year, but still that remains too low, right? I mean, we really need to think about how Nepal can get to that 7, 8, 9% growth rate. There are some really exciting green shoots, really exciting things that we're seeing happening, particularly in the IT space. So in the last few weeks, we saw the first Nepali firm listed on the NASDAQ, right? This is incredibly exciting stuff. More of that faster is what Nepal really needs.
Public capital stock fell about 75% of the GDP in the mid-1990s to about 54% in 2019. Is this drop alarmingly concerning for our country?
Look, it's definitely a problem. We know globally that there are really two factors that drive economic growth. The growth in the public capital stock and what we call total factor productivity, or how you turn your factors like capital, like your people, into productive assets. And on both of these fronts, Nepal has some significant challenges, right? The big issues in the education system that we know about, that means that our human capital is not delivering, and a downturn in the investments in capital investment reflected in the budget, and also how much of the government money is actually spent, that has been a real problem. So we've seen the actual execution of the public investment. So when the government budgets 100, the amount that they actually are able to spend over the course of a year has actually come down over time. So not only is the government budgeting less for capital investment, but it's spending less of the money that it's budgeted. And so, as a result, fewer roads are getting built, fewer airports are getting upgraded, fewer hospitals and schools, and all of the kind of critical infrastructure that we know makes up that capital stock is actually being delivered for the Nepali people.
Foreign direct investment inflows also remain subdued in recent years. What do you think can Nepal do to attract more investment, especially considering all the political uncertainty and also considering the Gen Z movement?
Yeah, I think the troubling issue with foreign direct investment in Nepal is that the low levels of FDI today are not a reflection of the events of September. it has been a really troubling trajectory of very, very low levels of FDI over time. And this is something, again, we talked a little bit about this. We want to see Nepalis invest in Nepal, but bringing technology and investment from abroad is actually really central to getting that total factor productivity that I talked about raised. And we see very, very low levels of it. And there's a number of reasons for it, right? One is political and policy uncertainty. If I'm a foreign investor and I'm not sure if the government is going to change in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or multiple times over the next year, I'm going to be hesitant to invest. So political stability and policy stability is really critical. Clarity on issues like taxes is really critical. Honoring the trade agreements that the country has is really critical. So giving the policy environment that people are willing to make the investments in, willing to take my money from abroad and put into Nepal is absolutely central. The poor quality of the infrastructure in the country remains a major drag on things like foreign direct investment. I give you an example. 28% of agricultural production is lost in transit inside Nepal just because of the poor quality of infrastructure, the lack of storage, etc. So if I'm a foreign investor thinking about making a major agribusiness investment, am I going to choose Nepal where the roads, the bridges, the airports, the quality of infrastructure is so poor, or am I going to think about somewhere else where my money is safer because of the lack of capital stock? So it really, many of the questions that you've asked really have this thread that ties through them. Right?
So this is recent. Some time back, the World Bank, through IDA, ADB and Switzerland launched a 3-year partnership to strengthen Nepal's disaster risk management and build climate-resilient infrastructure. How will this partnership move forward, and who will it benefit?
Super excited about it because our collaboration with the ADB particularly is a centerpiece of our engagement here. I think that's something that is very important. We really try to work as one team to support the government of Nepal in its development journey. And we've been really fortunate to be able to partner with the government of Switzerland, who's been providing a significant amount of grant resources around this issue of climate change, climate adaptation, being able to deal with disaster risk in a more sustainable and thoughtful way. So Nepal is one of the countries that is most exposed to disaster risk, both from earthquakes but also from things like flooding. And so being able to partner with Switzerland and the ADB in embedding thoughtful disaster risk management approaches in all of the infrastructure, both that we finance but that the government supports, is very important. We talked earlier about the CPF. Our CPF has 2 and only 2 foci. One is jobs that we talked about, and the second is reducing the risks from natural disasters. So these are really 2 pillars of our engagement here at the World Bank in Nepal.
The World Bank has approved $150 million for the 3rd Bridges Improvement and Maintenance Program. The goal, as mentioned, is to build climate-resilient bridges with real-time monitoring to make critical road networks safer and more reliable, especially in disaster-prone areas. How is the project rolling so far?
Just started, but I think the story on bridges is a great one. Again, I think too much we focus on all the problems. We really need to focus on the fact that from 2012 to 2024, the World Bank supported the maintenance and construction of over 44,000 bridges throughout the country. So this new bridge program builds on 12 years of real success on doing that. I think what's exciting about this one is that we really are bringing these issues around disaster risk management and resilience much more centrally into how we think about how the government plans, builds, and maintains its infrastructure.
David, thank you so much for being on NTV World Insight.
Thanks so much.
And thank you too for watching the show. Do join us on our social media pages. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and also on YouTube. And also visit our official website, nepaltelevision.com, for more news and information. Until next time.
Everest, I would say, is high, but it's easier to climb than Makalu. Makalu is a little bit technical. Kanchenjunga is very high. It's technical and it's isolated. Everest, you get internet on base camp all the time. Camp 2 is quite big. Camp 2, you get internet again. Now people even have internet on Camp 4. So I would say Everest is easier, it's higher, difficult for sure, but Makalu and Kanchenjunga are less climbed and they are definitely harder. Kanchenjunga was very hard. They have different challenges, but I think K2 is definitely more technical, more harder. So K2 has different challenges, but both mountains have different challenges. If I have to compare the two, one is K2 is more. So I'm planning to climb Shishapangma in autumn because China sometimes doesn't give permits out. It's better to climb when the permits are being given. And I'm planning to climb Dhaulagiri next year in spring. I always take one Sherpa, and I climbed in Nepal, mostly with Imagine Nepal, one peak with 7 summits. I always go with one Sherpa because I think it's safer. I mean, when I send mostly, I just keep going. I don't need anybody, but if any emergency happens, then it's better to have a guide with you and a local guide who knows the mountain. I'm strong enough when sometimes I'm just going by myself. I do need oxygen, so they carry it. But I am a mother of 2 small girls, so I will not climb without the help of Sherpa. It's something usually mothers, like I haven't seen any young mothers on the mountain, so it's not, because it's not easy to leave your young kids. Anything can happen if you die, then who's going to look after the kids. But I have some sort of confidence. Maybe people will not agree, but I know I will come back down for my young girls. And usually people say, how can you leave your young girls behind? But when I'm on the mountain, I have a difficult moment. I think about my daughters, that my daughters need me, so I need to go back no matter what. So I put extra effort. I'm more focused just because I know I have 2 daughters home. So they've been my strength, not my weakness. I think collaboration is very important. Like you said, Pakistan and Nepal has most number of 8,000 meter peaks. We can learn a lot from Nepal when it comes to tourism because we are very behind. Your economy, you get in your GDP, most of the revenue comes from tourism, and we have beautiful mountains like Nepal, but we have very minimal revenue that comes from tourism. So we can learn definitely from Nepal, and the process is like everything. When we get to Nepal, to when we get to base camp, to summit, back, and then out of the country, it's like I love the process in Nepal. We are very far behind, but we have tourism potential. So I think we can collaborate in that sense where we can learn from Nepal experience. I don't see many Nepalis in Pakistan, so I mean we should promote tourism of Nepalis also and Pakistanis coming also to each other's country. There's definitely room for improvement when it comes to collaboration between the 2 countries, and I know we love Nepali and Nepali also love us, so yeah, we need to make use of that. I think first time the process of coming in, because in Pakistan it was hard. Now it's improving. As soon as we come in, it was easy. People are really nice. I think most Nepali I met are nice, friendly. They know how to communicate, I think that was the best part, the friendliness of the Nepali people and the kindness. Hardship for me personally is being away from family. So Kanchenjunga, for example, I said is isolated. It's very far from connectivity. So not being able to speak to the family, for example, was the hard. I mean, nothing that I had no difficulty from Nepal itself or the people from Nepal, but just being away from family and emotional difficulty.
Experience has always been good. Nepali, if I say Nepali, I would say धेरै राम्रो छ. मलाई नेपालको टुरिज्म मेरो एक्सपिरियन्स धेरै मन पर्छ, खुसी लाग्छ नेपालमा. यस्तो घर जस्तो भएको. I have loved Nepal. This country has accepted me a lot, and it's a pleasure for me to be here always. If we talk about Nepal, I think it's more commercial, and I think the tourism in Nepal is like very fast in Pakistan, but now eventually Pakistan is growing as well. But if I compare Karakoram or Himalayas, Karakoram are more like steeper and more difficult, more technical to climb, and the specific region and the moving glaciers and everything that make them more difficult, especially the change of weather. So I believe that the Karakorams are more difficult to climb. I've seen a lot of Sherpas in Nepal, in Pakistan, who come to climb a lot of mountains. Mero sabo sathiharu Nepal ko every season they come to K2 and Nanga Parbat and Rock Peak to climb that mountain. And they are one of the elite climbers as well. So, you know, in Pakistan there is much respect to the Sherpas. In Pakistan is so Sherpaहरू सबै धेरै मन पर्छ पाकिस्तानमा यो जो सेम गर्दै जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई त तीनवटा कन्ट्री त मन पर्छ तिब्बतमा अलिकति गाह्रो छ यसको पर्मिटको भिजाको अलिकति गाह्रो छ अनि नेपालमा त इजी पाकिस्तानमा इजी हो मलाई त राम्रो It's more like Nepal or Pakistan friendship expedition, something like that, and I think it's a great idea. It should be initiated. And we are up, me, Sarvaz, Naila, we are one of the Pakistani climbers, and yes, of course in Nepal there are a lot of climbers as well. So we can combine an expedition, we can launch it to Everest or K2, whatever it feels like.
I climb Nanga Parbat solo, also Broad Peaks. Then K2 I have one Pakistani climbing partner. Sherpa in last one day, just and Camp 4 to Camp 4, I use Sherpa. जिस कंपनी में मैं आया था उन्होंने कहा कि नहीं आप अकेले क्लाइंब कर सकते हैं लेकिन विंड बहुत ज़्यादा है लेकिन आपको शेरपा लेके जाना पड़ेगा फिर आखिरी दिन वो शेरपा साथ दिया तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह वो शेरपा के ने बहुत सपोर्ट किया शेरपा ने भी विंड भी बहुत ज़्यादा था तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह समिट हो गया उस वजह से इस माउंटेन इज़ नॉट डिफरेंट मुश्किल वो भी है मुश्किल ये भी है यहाँ पे लोग कहते हैं कि माउंट एवरेस्ट बहुत आसान है लेकिन ऐसा नहीं है यहाँ के जो लोग हैं उन लोगों ने काम किया है इस वजह से यहाँ पे आसान है अदरवाइज़ आप ख़ुद से जिस तरीके से हमने क्लाइंबिंग की यहाँ पे ख़ुद से अगर क्लाइंबिंग करें आप अपना जूता खुद पहने अपने लिए पानी खुद बनाएं अपने लिए रूट खुद बनाएं तो ये बहुत आसान काम नहीं है क्योंकि मैंने देखा है एवरेस्ट के अंदर एवरेस्ट का कैंप 4 तक बेस कैंप से कैंप 4 से समिट इतना ही डिस्टेंस बराबर है तो डेथ जोन के अंदर आप 6-7 घंटा 12 घंटा आप रहते हैं आसान नहीं है तो हर पहाड़ का अपना एक खेल है जैसा K2 है K2 के ऊपर एवलांच वगैरह होते हैं आइस फॉल होता है रॉक गिरता है यहाँ पे ये नहीं होता लेकिन उसके बदले में फिर इसकी हाई बहुत ज़्यादा हाई है और लंबा बहुत ज़्यादा है तो इंसान है बहरहाल वो क्या कहते हैं कि तकलीफ़ होती है हर जगह पे हर पहाड़ का अपनी एक तकलीफ़ है तो बहरहाल ये मेरे लिए बहुत अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस था मैंने बहुत कुछ सीखा यहाँ पे नेपाल में आके क्योंकि यहाँ पे जिस तरीके से लोग काम करते हैं इवन बेस कैंप से लेके टॉप तक जो लोग काम करते हैं अगर इस तरीके से अगर हम कोशिश करें पाकिस्तान के अंदर अगर हमारे जो क्लाइंट्स हैं इंटरनेशनल लेवल के जो क्लाइंट्स आते हैं उनके लिए इस तरीके से प्रोफेशनल तरीके से हम अगर खिदमत करें तो डेफिनेटली पाकिस्तान के अंदर भी बहुत ज़्यादा टूरिज़म आ सकता है क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ पे एक पाकिस्तान के अंदर एक चीज़ की कमी है कि प्रोफेशनल लोग बहुत कम हैं यानी जैसा माउंटेन गाइड्स है ही नहीं कोई मतलब सरबाज वगैरह जो अभी जो नए लड़का है ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा अगर आने वाले 2-3 साल में ये एक आध होंगे तो हमें इनिशियल स्टेज पे यहाँ पे किसी तरीके से हमें कोई ऐसा एक्सेस मिल जाए कि हमें कोई ट्रेनिंग मिल जाए जिस तरीके से यहाँ पे लोग काम करते हैं इसी तरीके से अगर हम पाकिस्तान में भी थोड़ा सा अवेयरनेस के साथ अगर हमें 1 साल की अगर ट्रेनिंग दे दे तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हमारे लोग भी बहुत ज़्यादा तगड़े हैं तो क्योंकि जो क्लाइंट जो है वो सर्टिफिकेशन देखता है तो वो देखता है कि कितना ट्रेंड है और कितना मतलब इसके पास एक्सपीरियंस है तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह एक्सपीरियंस तो हम लोगों के पास भी बहुत है लेकिन सर्टिफिकेशन नहीं होने की वजह से मतलब फॉरेनर जो है जो हमारे ऊपर ट्रस्ट कम करता है, तो ज़्यादातर पाकिस्तान के अंदर भी नेपाल से जो शेरपाज है उनको लेके आते हैं और उनके ऊपर ज़्यादा ट्रस्ट किया जाता है, हमारे ऊपर ट्रस्ट कम किया जाता है.
I'm lucky when someone says you looks like a Sherpa, or you say some or says you are like a Sherpas, you're like strong with Sherpa. I'm very happy because in this world, in this our climbing community, Sherpas like brand.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy when someone says you looks like Sherpa, or you like Sherpa. Oh yeah, in 2021, in COVID time, he said, oh, Nepali or Pakistani passport. I said, oh, come on, man. I'm from Pakistan. So yeah, my look is like a Tibetan, and my mother from Skardu, and yeah, I climbed my first 8,000 Nanga Parbat with Sherpas. So maybe Imaji is the first K2 winters summiter. And I'm lucky I climbed with Imaji my first 8,000. Even I start my climbing career with Sherpas. So till now, I think 90% of my 8,000ers are climbing career with Sherpas. So most of my climbs with Nepali Sherpas in Pakistan, Nepal, and in Tibet, China. Like Tikcha, like this, yeah. Yeah, I feel when I come to Nepal, I feel like my second home, to be honest. And all Sherpas, even 80% of Sherpas, they know me. They know me. And I have a good relation with Sherpas, they respect. I think who are living in the mountains, almost same culture, same honesty, and yeah, little bit food is a little bit different, but yeah, I think who are living on the mountains, connect with nature, so both are the same, but so we need to extend our seasons, like autumn. We have good autumn and spring also, but we have no qualified climbers, guides, so we need to work on this, and then yes, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, because when I start my climbing career in 2016-17, and I climbed my first 8,000er and Nanga Parbat, that time I announced Mission Summit 14 without oxygen. But later on Annapurna, Kanchenjunga, and Everest, the last part, I feel the weather was very bad and strong winds. I use oxygen. So I repeat this year these three peaks, like K2 in last year, Annapurna and Kanchenjunga this season. So I'm very happy. This is the big, I think, in adventure tourism, like in climbing. You can say it's a FIFA World Cup, like when you are climbing without oxygen, without Sherpa. But we help. We need without Sherpa's help. You can say without Sherpa. So without oxygen, I complete my Mission Summit 14 and become first Pakistani. This is not for me or not my family. It's this record for whole Pakistan. So I'm feeling very proud. To be honest, after 8 years, after 8 years, I complete my big dream. I think this is sometime when I remember my all past and my climbing career, I feel very different because I came as a kitchen boy, as a porter. I worked as a kitchen boy 6-7 years when I was in college. So after 8 years, when I complete my Mission Summit 14, it looks like a dream. It looks like of course different experience because it's involved weather, it's terrain, But it's most difficult is of course Kanchenjunga and Annapurna here in Nepal, in Pakistan K2 and Nanga Parbat. So every peak have different terrain, different hardness or its difficult level is. Yeah, Manaslu is like I think easiest mountain in Mission Summit 14, like in Pakistan G2 and Manaslu in Nepal is easiest. Yeah, sometimes it's like 3 years ago, the BKO launch came and even our team, 3 Sherpas injured. Yeah, sometimes it's mountain is mountain. We can't fight against the nature. Like sometimes happen. Every mountain is like difficult level is different. But yeah, sometimes easy. You can say this is easy, but it's like remember in Shishapama. Last year in 2023, big accident there, and Gina from US, Anna, and one of the Lama, one of the best climber in Nepal, we lost. Sometimes it's happened like this. If you have manpower, Annapurna first. Between Camp 2 and Camp 3, you can't understand what happened. When you are climbing between Camp 2 and Camp 3, sometimes your breath level is like, I can't explain because I climbed 2 times, so I feel inside. So I climbed 3 times K2, but I think in Pakistan we have very strong climbers, but like trainings, even here in Nepal, I think 3-4 big like NNMGA, IFMGA, like this institute. But in Pakistan, till now, single person we have not certified, IFMGA certified. But I think in Nepal, 80 plus IFMGA guides. So we need collaboration with Nepal or like Norway. So we need to establish some good institute, schools, training schools. Then hopefully we have in future we improve in climbing and in tourism department. Nepal is like really they make good rules and regulations for tourists. What you need, is freedom. Everything is available. Yeah, every year more people. I saw more climbers visiting Nepal, and more ability, like IFMGA guides, more every year, like 5-6. So this is a good sign for Nepal to boost adventure tourism in Nepal. In starting days, I faced very difficult because I have no sponsors. But Migmaji is like my brother. He helped me a lot, and yes, if I'm here this time in Nepal, and I into because of him, he's helped like his brother, and Alhamdulillah, I hard worker, and God give me a opportunity and give me success one by one, and now I am here. And after my 6th peak, I got first sponsors. Local sponsor from Pakistan. Then till now I have because before 6th I visited 2 times in Nepal. Once Manaslu, once Lhotse. So that time Migmaji gave me an opportunity to come to Nepal and climb with my company, and I already 2 trainings from here, me and Abdul Joshi and Suhail from Pakistan. So in future, yes. Well, now I am getting old. So my plan is like this. I want to introduce IFMGA in Pakistan, the most important thing. We have no single one, IFMGA certified single one. So we need to establish some schools, some training centers. And I work with as a guide. It's different question. I think so. I don't like even too much branding, but I work as a ground level to establish one school and more people to involve in climbing, because we have potential. We have 8,000 or 6 and 7,000, even in Pakistan, unclimbed peaks also. So I want to try to establish one good school and my some yes, I have some. I already start my book. So yeah, we are thinking about also a documentary, good documentary, not like maybe 20% little bit up and down, but 80% I want natural to try footage. Natural, not like fake. Good friend, my partner, Saad Munawar, is just 3 days before he climbed from north side, Everest. He's the first Pakistani to climb from north side. From north side. So yeah, he's nice writer also. So we together.
So from
you know, when humans are approached and interfere in the nature, yeah, there was. But we need to clean, because you saw nowadays last 3-4 years climate change, like we don't understand what happened on whole. But we have big glaciers. The most affected areas, I think, in Nepal and Pakistan, because we have big glaciers like Siachen, Himalaya here, Siachen, Baltoro, Biafo. So we need to protect also our glaciers.
Pakistani climbers today here, and this is also a shared heritage of Pakistan and Nepal, that out of 14 8,000ers, 13 of us, 13 we share between us, and K2 in Everest, you can see on the plaque that is also on the right on my wall, that we share this heritage. And recently I also congratulate Nepal for holding Sagarmatha Samvad, which highlighted that ecology and the mountains' fragile ecology is not a given, and we need to do something to protect it. And in doing so, I think we celebrate our climbers, and we also celebrate those who are preserving it and the geography of the region. Climbers, some of them are here, they can also join them, and then they can have a joint expedition both to K2 and Everest.
Nepal's festivals are like colors on a canvas. Communities celebrate occasions that are as diverse as the country itself. These festivals hold deep personal meaning for individuals, going far beyond mere celebration. They are not just events, they are emotional, cultural and spiritual lifelines that nurture identity, community and inner happiness. For Nepalis, every festival, whether it honors gods, ancestors, nature or the cycle of seasons, is ultimately a celebration of life itself. Birth, life, and death are all celebrated with utmost joy and separate rituals as per the communities. It's a reminder that life, like the changing seasons, is full of both light and shadow, and each festival teaches to embrace both with gratitude.
हरेक चाडपर्वमा एउटा एउटा हैन धान रोप्दाखेरि खेतमा हामी पूजा गरेर हुन्छौं, धान थन्काउँदा हामीले हवन गरेर हुन्छौं, नुहाई खाने भनेर भनिन्छ, नवान्न प्राशनको विधानहरू छुट्टै छ। त्यो सम्पूर्ण कुराहरूले हाम्रो प्रकृतिमा पनि त्यति नै सुप्रभाव पार्छ र मान्छेको शरीरमा, मनमा र आत्मासम्म पनि यसले सुप्रभाव पार्छ, आनन्द दिन्छ, सत र चित, राम्रो आनन्द र चिरकालसम्म रहने टिकाउ आनन्द दिन्छ भन्ने मान्यताले गर्दाखेरि यो सबै चाडपर्वहरू हामी मनाइरा हुन्छौं।
Major Hindu celebrations like Dasai and Tihar unite families in devotion and joy and is celebrated by majority of Nepalis. While Buddha Jayanti, Loshar, Sakela Udhauli, Shakela Ubhauli, Maghi Shankranti or Maghi showcase the spiritual and cultural vibrancy of Buddhist, Kirat and indigenous communities. Festivals such as Indrazatra, Gaizatra and Yomari Punhi blend history with celebration. For women, Tees and Rishi Panchami serve as expressions of faith and sisterhood. And in the Tarai, Chhat embodies purity, discipline and devotion to the sun and nature.
भौगोलिक हिसाबले सानो भइकन फेरि कस्तो भने जात जातिको हिसाबले पनि थुप्रै ट्राइबहरू भएको, यो सबै एउटै जातिको मात्रै छैन, तर हामीका धार्मिक सहिष्णुता छ, रिलिजियस टलरेन्स भन्छौँ, त्यो विश्वलाई हामीले दिएको एउटा उदाहरण हो। हामीका हिन्दूहरूको चाडपर्व पनि बौद्धहरूले पनि मनाउँछन्, इस्लामहरूले पनि मनाइराखेका हुन्छन्। नितान्त हिन्दूहरूको जस्तो लक्ष्मी पूजाको कुरा गर्यो, दशैँकी कुरा गर्यो, यहाँ राष्ट्र प्रमुखहरू भएको बेलामा हिन्दूहरू बाहेक अन्य धर्मावलम्बीहरू पनि टीका थाप्नलाई हामीका आशीर्वाद लिने चलन छ, त्यो लिनलाई गइराखेका हुन्छन्।
Festivals here reflect its rich cultural diversity and deep sense of community. Shared laughter, music and rituals foster emotional healing and strengthen social bonds. Experts say gatherings and celebrations nurture positivity, hope and meaning.
यो त एकदमै ठुलो कस्तो कुरा रहेछ भने यो रिचार्ज गर्ने भन्छ नि, हामी गरिरहेको परम्पराबाट गरिरहेको यस्ता कार्यहरू गर्दा चाहिँ हामीमा के हुन्छ त स्वतस्फूर्त रूपमा हामी चाहिँ नि एकदम फेरि अब हामीलाई एउटा भित्रबाट पनि शान्ति मिल्छ, सुख मिल्छ, त्यसकारण यो चाहिँ आवश्यकै चीज हो।
Amid modernization, festivals remain vital anchors connecting people to their culture and roots. The togetherness of families, the glow of butter lamps in monasteries during Loshar, and the rhythm of dhime drums in Nevari processions all tell the same story. Nepal is a land where festivals are the very heartbeat of its people.
AI brings in a lot of augmentation and efficiency gains, which will not necessarily replace the human, but produce a lot more efficient human, almost like a superhuman, where the person will be able to do more jobs in less amount of time. And that efficiency gains could impact overall economic output, which could then generate a lot more new kind of jobs.
Will they be a misfit in near future?
More and more people should learn how to use some of these tools, because if you don't use it, I don't know if misfit is the word, but you will be left behind.
US and Ukrainian officials say they had drafted a refined framework for ending the war with Russia after talks in Geneva produced a revised version of a US plan that Kiev and its European allies had criticized as too favorable to Moscow. In a joint statement, Washington and Kiev said the updated approach was a result of Sunday's discussions in Switzerland, although neither side released specifics. U.S. President Donald Trump hinted at the moment in the talks, writing on Truth Social that something good just may be happening. Ukrainian President Zelensky in his nightly address said that the new draft includes correct elements, but that sensitive topics would require direct discussion with Trump. Since mid-2025, U.S. policy on the war has shifted sharply, raising concerns among Kiev and European capitals about Washington's intention. Trump's surprise Alaska summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin heightened fears that the United States might accept Russian demands, but it ultimately produced stronger U.S. pressure on Moscow. Pakistani strikes on neighboring Afghanistan killed at least 10 people, the Taliban government spokesperson said, a day after a suicide attack on a security compound in Pakistan's Peshawar city. The airstrikes targeting the border regions of Kunar and Paktika wounded another 4 civilians. The bombardment follows an attack that targeted the headquarters of Pakistan's paramilitary force in Peshawar, killing 3 officers and wounding 11 others. No group has claimed responsibility, but state broadcaster PTP reported the attackers were Afghan nationals, and President Asif Zardari blamed the foreign-backed Fitna al-Khawaris, Islamabad's term for the Tehrik-e-Taliban Pakistan TTP militants it accuses of operating from Afghan soil. Relations between Pakistan and Afghanistan have been fraught since the Taliban swept back to power in 2021 and worsened after deadly border clashes in October that killed around 70 people on both sides. The fighting ended with a ceasefire brokered by Qatar and Turkey, but talks in Islamabad failed to produce a lasting deal, with security issues, especially Pakistan's demand that Kabul curb TTP fighters, proving a sticking point. An Australian senator has been suspended for a week after wearing a burqa in Parliament to push for a ban on the Muslim garment. Pauline Hanson was condemned by fellow senators and later formally censured for the stunt on Monday, with one colleague accusing her of blatant racism. The Queensland senator of the anti-immigration One Nation Party was seeking to introduce a bill that would outlaw full face coverings in public, a policy she has long campaigned for. It is the second time she has owned the garment which covers the face and body in Parliament, and said her actions were in protest at the Senate rejecting the bill. Fatima Payman, an independent senator from the state of Western Australia, called the stunt disgraceful. Foreign Minister Penny Ong, who serves as the leader of the government in the Senate on Tuesday, moved a motion to censure Hanson, claiming she has been parading prejudice as protest for decades. The motion, which passed 55 votes to 5, states that Hanson's actions were intended to vilify and mock people on the basis of their religion and were disrespectful to Muslim Australians.
Whatever views we may have on policy is to be this disrespectful of the chamber and of people of faith. Whatever our own beliefs may be, the sort of disrespect that you are engaging in now is not worthy of a member of the Australian Senate, and it should not be allowed to stand.
Afghan women entrepreneurs took center stage at the Imam Abu Hanifa International Exhibition in Kabul last week in a push to showcase their goods to potential buyers. 200 booths were dedicated exclusively to female-led businesses. The growing presence and strong performance of women at this year's exhibition highlighted the growing number of female entrepreneurs in the country. The events, which wrapped up on Monday, show many women vendors reporting strong sales and a surge in new customers. They argued that the occasional exhibitions are beneficial but insufficient for ensuring sustainable market access. Regular programs, they say, would help women develop long-term business stability rather than relying on sales generated during short-term events. Bedbugs often spark itchy scares around the world, but Malaysian scientists have discovered how the much-loathed creepy crawlies can be turned into online crime-bustling allies. A team from the Science University of Malaysia, USM, in northern Penang has found that the tropical blood-sucking bedbugs can retain human DNA for up to 45 days after smacking on human prey. The study, conducted by a forensic entomology team involved allowing bedbugs to feed on volunteers and then analyzing the insects at regular intervals. To the researchers' astonishment, the consumed DNA remained sufficiently intact to be extracted and profiled for more than 6 weeks. Such longevity far exceeds what is typically found in other blood-feeding insects used in forensic investigations, such as mosquitoes, whose DNA degrades within hours or even days. The team emphasizes that while the method is still in its early stages, the potential is significant. The production of iburi kako pickles, a local specialty, has begun in Akita Prefecture, northern Japan, ahead of full-blown winter. Iburi kako is a type of pickled daikon radish. Unlike most pickled daikon, this unique product is smoked before being pickled in a fermented mixture that includes rice bran and salt. Many farmers in the Sannai district of Yokote City make the pickles at home, and the smoky radish aroma fills the air around this time of year. Among them are Takahashi Hiroshi and Toshi, a couple in their 80s. About 1,000 daikon are hanging in their smokehouse. They say by smoking the radishes for about 3 days using wood such as apple or oak, the vegetables get a unique aroma and crisp texture. The smoked radishes are then pickled in a bed of rice bran for about 2 months. Marathon swimmers Simon Holliday and Eddie Hu have become the first people to swim around Hong Kong's largest island of Lantau. Their 65-kilometer swim took around 20 hours 56 minutes and 21 hours 28 minutes respectively. The third in the pod, Brett Cruz, was defeated by crippling cramp at around 8-hour point. As night settled over Lantau, the swimmers pressed ahead under the glow of their escort vessel's lights, guided only by their stroke rhythm and determination. By the time they completed the final stretch, they had etched their names into Hong Kong's sporting history, demonstrating not only athletic strength but also the resilience required to take on one of the region's most challenging maritime routes. Dozens of dogs competed in a dog show during an event organized by the Pakistan Kennel Club (PKC) in Islamabad. From towering German Shepherds and elegant Salukis to energetic Labradors, Huskies and toy breeds, the competition highlighted the impressive diversity of Pakistan's growing dog show community. Handlers guided their dogs through obedience drills, demonstrations and conformation judging, where each animal was assessed for temperament, physical structure and adherence to international breed standards. Spectators cheered as pups trotted proudly before the judges, while children flocked to the ringside fences to catch a closer look at the showstoppers. Organizers say the show aims to raise awareness about dog welfare, promote high-quality breeding practices, and encourage more Pakistanis to participate in professional dog sports. China launched the Shenzhou 2 spacecraft on Tuesday to help bring back a team of astronauts after a damaged spacecraft left them temporarily stranded on China's space station. The Shenzhou Tutu, which successfully docked at the Tiangong Space Station, will be used sometime in 2026 by the 3 astronauts who arrived on November the 1st. Earlier this month, another group of Chinese astronauts from the Shenzhou 20 mission faced a 9-day delay in their return to the Earth after their craft's window was damaged. They eventually returned using the Shenzhou 21 spacecraft, which had just carried the replacement crew to Tiangong. While the 3-person crew landed safely on the Earth, 3 of their fellow astronauts on the replacement crew were temporarily left without a guaranteed way to return in case of an emergency. Tiangong, which means Heavenly Palace, hosted its first crew in 2021. Visitors wandered through a sea of twinkling lights and wooden stalls as Germany's famous Christmas markets sunk into full festive spirit this season. In cities from Berlin to Munich, the scent of mulled wine, roasted chestnuts, and freshly baked gingerbread filled the chilly December air, drawing crowds of locals and tourists eager to experience one of the country's most cherished traditions. Artisans displayed hand-carved ornaments, knitted winterwear, and delicate glass decorations, while choirs performed carols that echoed across historic town squares. Despite cold temperatures, families bundled up to enjoy the food and ambience, keeping alive a centuries-old celebration that remains at the heart of Germany's holiday identity.
The gorgeous temple of Changu Narayan holds greater significance among the 4 Narayan temples located in different cardinal points of Kathmandu Valley. It is situated on a magnificent hilltop about 16 kilometers northeast of Kathmandu in the Bhaktapur district. Changu Narayan is known for its majestic temple complex, full of magnificent artworks in stone, metal, and wood. As an important heritage site of archaeological and cultural importance, with a history of nearly 1700 years, Changu Narayan was designated as UNESCO World Heritage Site in October 1979. By then, it also received the attention of international observers abroad. One of the first substantial epigraphic evidences of Nepalese history was found in the temple premises consecrated by Lichavi King Mandev, dating back to 464 AD. It shows that Changu Narayan was already developed as an important sacred place long before his time. There are various myths and legends regarding the origin of Changu Narayan. As detailed in the Vansavalis, Changu had already been established as a sacred site around 3rd century AD. The Ichangu inscription of Vijaya Kamdev, dated 1199 AD, informs that the temple was built by the king Haridatta Varma, happened to be 9th generations before Mandev. The time of Haridatta Varma is estimated as early as 325 AD.
यो काठमाडौँ उपत्यका विश्व सम्पदा स्थल चाहिँ 1979 मा नेपालको तर्फबाट विश्व सम्पदाको रूपमा चाहिँ सूचीकृत भएको थियो र त्यसमा चाहिँ अपरेसनल गाइडलाइन अब भनौं न नेपालले 1972 को चाहिँ वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज कन्भेन्सन भन्ने जुन कन्भेन्सन थियो त्यो कन्भेन्सनमा चाहिँ साइन गरिसकेपछि 78 मा साइन गर्यो र 76 मा साइन गरेर 78 मा चाहिँ नेपालले पठाएको थियो र त्यतिखेर पठाउँदाखेरि नेपालले यो सांस्कृतिक सम्पदाको तर्फबाट काठमाडौँ उपत्यका विश्व सम्पदा स्थल र प्राकृतिकको तर्फबाट चाहिँ सगरमाथा राष्ट्रिय निकुञ्जलाई चाहिँ यो सूचीमा सूचीकरण गर्नको लागि पठाएको थियो। त्यो मध्ये चाहिँ अपरेसनल गाइडलाइनको अनुसार क्राइटेरिया 3, 4 र 6 जुन चाहिँ एकदमै असाध्यै विश्वव्यापी महत्त्व भएको भनेर जुन आउटस्ट्यान्डिङ युनिभर्सल भ्याल्यू भनेर भन्छौँ, हामीले यो 3वटा क्राइटेरियाको आधारमा नेपाल सरकारले तत्कालीन अवस्थामा चाङ्गु नारायण सहित बाँकी 6वटा सम्मिलित भएको समावेश भएको चाहिँ काठमाडौँ उपत्यका विश्व सम्पदा स्थल भनेर चाहिँ सूचीकरण को लागि प्रस्ताव गरेको थियो 78 मा र 79 को सेसनले चाहिँ वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज कमिटीको सेसन भनेको बैठक ले चाहिँ यसलाई सूचीकृत गर्ने चाहिँ निर्णय गरेको थियो। त्यसैले यो एज ए होल 7वटा 7 in 1 वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज प्रपर्टी भनेर भन्छौँ हामी। यो काठमाडौँ उपत्यका विश्व सम्पदा स्थल चाहिँ त्यसरी चाहिँ विश्व सम्पदा सूचीमा चाहिँ सूचीकरण भएको थियो।
चाङ्गु भनेको चाहिँ एउटा हामीसँग एकदम पुरानो प्राचीन स्थल पनि हो त्यहाँ हैन। त्यहाँ चाहिँ धेरैवटा अभिलेखहरू छ, जम्मी त्यहाँको अभिलेखहरू सम्पूर्ण चाङ्गुसँग सम्बन्धित अभिलेखहरू, चाङ्गुमा भएका अभिलेखहरू, भण्डारभित्र भएका सबै अभिलेख हेर्ने हो भने करिब हामीसँग 360वटा अभिलेखहरू छ चाङ्गु एरियामा मात्रै, त्योसँग रिलेटेड अभिलेखहरू हैन। र त्यसमध्ये अहिलेसम्म प्राप्त सबभन्दा पुरानो अभिलेख भनेको मानदेवको 386 को अभिलेख हो हैन। त्यो भनेको राजा मानदेवले आफ्नो विजयपछि जब सामन्तहरू सबैलाई कब्जा गरिसकेपछि राखेको अभिलेख हो। यो अभिलेख चाहिँ एउटा स्तम्भमा छ त्यहाँ, र त्यो अभिलेखमा चाहिँ लिच्छवी लिपिमा लेखिएको छ र संस्कृत भाषामा लेखिएको छ, एकदम प्योर संस्कृत भाषामा लेखिएको छ, राम्रो एकदम शुद्ध भाषामा लेखिएको छ। र त्यसमा चाहिँ उसले राजा मानदेवले जब पूर्व र पश्चिमको सामन्तहरूलाई दबाइसकेपछि उसले विजय स्तम्भको रूपमा त्यसलाई स्थापना गरेको हो। र यो अभिलेखलाई चाहिँ अहिलेसम्म हामीसँग धेरै विवरण, हामीसँग हुन त लिच्छवी कालका त्योभन्दा पुरानो अभिलेखहरू पनि छन् हैन। र जस्तै दोस्रो शताब्दीको जय वर्माको सम्मत 160 को अभिलेख छ हामीसँग, अनि त्यसपछि 381 को अभिलेखहरू पनि छन्, तर त्यसमा चाहिँ विवरण एकदम छोटोमा छ। तर यो अभिलेख भनेको सम्पूर्ण विवरण लिच्छवी वंशको, जस्तै मानदेवले आफ्नो वंश समेत 3 पुस्ता समेत उल्लेख गरेर लेखेको र आफ्नो आमाको समेत नाम उल्लेख गरेर राखेको अभिलेख भएकोले त्यो बेलाको सिनेरीहरू, त्यो बेलाको इतिहास, धर्म, संस्कृतिहरू धेरै भएको अभिलेखमा भएको हुनाले यो अभिलेख चाहिँ विशेष महत्त्वपूर्ण छ। नेपालकै सन्दर्भमा पनि यो अभिलेख चाहिँ विशेष महत्त्वपूर्ण छ।
चाङ्गु नारायण क्षेत्रमा भएका मन्दिर या मन्दिर वरिपरिका अन्य स्मारक र पुरातात्विक वस्तुहरूको हामीले संरक्षण सम्वर्धनलाई हाई प्रायोरिटी दिएर चाहिँ काम अगाडि बढाएका छौँ। हाम्रो भक्तपुरमा स्मारक संरक्षण तथा दरबार हेरचाह कार्यालय अफिस छ, युनिट अफिस छ। त्यो युनिट अफिसको कामै के हो भने भक्तपुर वा विश्व सम्पदा स्थल चाङ्गु नारायण समेतको हाम्रो जुन कार्यक्षेत्र छ, हाम्रो मापदण्ड छ, त्यो मापदण्ड कार्यक्षेत्र अनुसार सञ्चालन, व्यवस्थापन, संरक्षण गर्नु नै यसको मुख्य कार्य हो। र त्यो अफिस, युनिट अफिसबाट ती कार्यहरू त्यहाँ भइरहेको छ। त्यही कारणले नै हामीलाई युनेस्कोले भूकम्प पछिको पुनर्निर्माण या भूकम्प पछिको स्ट्याटस क्लियर गर्ने सन्दर्भमा त्यो अफिस र स्वयं पुरातत्व विभागले त्यसको संरक्षण कार्य अगाडि बढाएको अवस्था छ।
मानदेवले राखेको गरुड स्तम्भ पछि गएर कालान्तरमा विभिन्न कारणले त्यो भाँच्यो। भाँच्एपछि त्यो स्तम्भमाथि रहेको गरुड चाहिँ नि भुइँमा झर्यो जुन तपाईँले गरुड देख्नुहुन्छ चाँगु नारायणको ठ्याक्कै मन्दिर अगाडि हात जोडेर बसेको मानव आकार छ अनि पछाडि प्वाख बनाइया छ हैन। त्यसले पखेटाहरूले त्यो गरुड चाहिँ नि सम्भवतया मानदेवले नै चढाएको भन्ने मानिन्छ। त्यो कलामा डेफिनेटली हामीले के मथुरा शैलीको देख्छौँ। त्यो गरुडको जुङ्गा पनि बनाएको देख्नुहुन्छ, माथि एउटा सानो डोरीले बाँधेर क्लिपहरू लगाएको एउटा मुकुटको जस्तै किसिमका त्यो देखिन्छ। सम्भवतया त्यो मानदेवकै प्रतिमूर्तिको रूपमा त्यही उसको पर्सनालिटी अनुसार उसको जीवडाल अनुसार गरुड बनाइएको हो भन्ने एक थरीको भनाइ छ।
रङरोगन त वार्षिक योजना होइन, यो 61 वर्षपछि भएको यो भगवान् नारायणले नै पुजारी नियुक्ति गरेको हुनाले त्यो वंश परम्परागत अहिले हामी चाहिँ यहाँ पुजारी बनिएका छौँ र त्यही वंशज मात्रै पूजा गर्नुपर्ने भएको हुनाले यहाँका पुजारीले आफ्नो बुवा आमा बित्नु भए पनि जुठो बार्न पाइन्न। यहाँ अविच्छिन्न रूपमा चाहिँ पूजा चलाउनुपर्छ। त्यो चलन अहिलेसम्म चलिआएको छ। मन्दिर 4:30-5 बजे खोलिसकेका हुन्छ। भडेलहरूले नित्य पूजाको लागि यहाँ छुटेर ढाका छ, नारायण टी भन्छौँ हामी, त्यहाँबाट चोकपानी ल्याएर चोकपानी ल्याएर पनि एउटा कठिन छ। चोकपानी ल्याएर कोही बिसाएर थाप्न नहुने होइन, अनि कसैले छुनु नहुने, नाङ्गो खुट्टा यहाँसम्म हिँडेर आउनुपर्ने। अनि यहाँ ल्याएर मन्दिर खोलिसकेपछि अनि चोकपानी भित्र त्यहाँ पूजा सामान तयार भइसकेपछि करिब 8-9 बजेतिर प्रायः भगवान्को पूजा हुन्छ। पूजा षोडशोपचारले हुन्छ। अनि त्यो पूजा पश्चात चाहिँ हामीले खिर नैवेद्य पनि चलाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ। पहिला मन्दिर बन्द हुन्थ्यो, अब त बन्द हुन छोड्यो। अहिले त प्रायः दिनभरि खोल्छ र साँझ चाहिँ नित्य आरती पनि हुन्छ र यो पूजा आरती गर्दा बाजा बजाउने चलन पनि छ।
लिच्छवीकालीन मूर्तिकलाको विशेषता चाहिँ नि के छ भने मास कलरको हुन्छ, मास रङको, ब्ल्याक बेसल्ट भन्छ त्यो ढुङ्गाको क्वालिटी, सारो ढुङ्गाबाट बनाएको हुन्छ र त्यसमा मास रङको चाहिँ नि लेपन गरेको देखिन्छ। त्यसपछि मूर्ति बनाइन्थ्यो, किनभने मूर्तिको त्यो खुट्टाको हातको कापा भित्र पनि त्यो पलिसिङ गरेको देखिन्छ। त्यो सम्भवतः पहिला ढुङ्गामा नगरिकन त्यसरी त भित्रभित्र गर्न त गाह्रो हुन्छ पलिसिङ गर्न। त्यसकारण उनीहरूले घोटेर ढुङ्गालाई चाहिँ नि पहिला बनाएपछि अनि त्यसपछि त्यो ढुङ्गालाई घोटेर तयार पारेपछि अनि उनीहरूले मूर्ति कुद्या हुनुपर्छ। स्ट्रङ्गेस्ट टेक्नोलोजी उनीहरूले युज गरेको देखिन्छ।
अंशु वर्माको अभिलेख छ, जुन चाहिँ गरुड अहिलेको तपाईँले त्यहाँ चाङ्गुमा जानुभयो भने ठ्याक्क त्यसको गरुडको पछाडि एउटा अंशु वर्मा र शिवदेवको अभिलेख पनि छ। त्यो अभिलेख पनि लिच्छवीकालको सामाजिक व्यवस्था अर्थव्यवस्थाहरू बुझ्नको लागि चाहिँ महत्त्वपूर्ण अभिलेख हो। र अर्को महत्त्वपूर्ण अभिलेख भनेको गरुडको पाटपीठमा जुन हाम्रो लिच्छवीकालको चाङ्गु नारायणको पाटपीठमा रहेको जुन अभिलेख छ नि, त्यसमा चाहिँ त्यो चाङ्गु नारायणको जुन मूर्ति स्थापना गरेको त्यसको जीर्णोद्धार गरेको सम्बन्धी चाहिँ त्यो अभिलेखमा चाहिँ उल्लेख छ। अभिलेखहरू अध्ययन गर्ने, तिनीहरूको विश्लेषण गर्ने, तिनीहरूको लिप्यान्तर गर्ने, प्रतिलिपि उतार गर्ने, तिनीहरूको सङ्कलन गर्ने कामहरू अभिलेखालयले गर्छ। र जस अनुसार हामीले त्यहाँको अभिलेखहरू लिप्यान्तर गरेर अथवा उतार गरेर ल्याएर तिनीहरूको प्रतिलिपि चाहिँ यहाँ सुरक्षित गरिसकेको छ। पुरै लिप्यान्तर गरेर भाषान्तर गरेर पब्लिस पनि भइसकेको छ त्यो जुन चाङ्गुको अभिलेख छ।
रामको वर्ण हैन, अनि यो जस्तै अब नारायणको वर्ण के हो, यहाँ बाजेहरू हुनुहुन्छ, उहाँहरूसँग बसेर सल्लाह गरेर अनि वर्ण अनुसारको हामीले चाहिँ यो कलर गर्ने हो। अब जस्तै कि यो चाहिँ श्रीराम उहाँको चाहिँ यो अलि निलो आकाशी वर्णको हुन्छ। अब माथि भयो नरसिंह सेतो वर्णको हो। यतापट्टि चाहिँ वामन वर्ण भयो, वामन चाहिँ हाम्रो स्किन कलर अरेन्ज कलरको हो। यो सबै त्यहाँ चाहिँ वर्णहरू हुन्छ अनि त्यही अनुसारले हामीले गर्ने हो। कुन्नाको चाहिँ हरियो कलरको कोहरा। अब कोहराको सिम किन राखेको भन्दा कोहरा चाहिँ यो उड्ने कोहरा, नेवार भाषाबाट बोसल भन्छ, बलियो पनि। उसले यो मन्दिरको पुरा यो छत हुन्छ नि उसको भारै उसले बोकेको छ कुन्ना कुमार 4 कुन्नाले। त्यही भएर उसको त्यो अनुहारको आकृति पनि अलि रिसाएको जस्तो, अलि उसलाई गाह्रो भएको जस्तो फिल गरेर नै बनाएको छ, राम्रो नै बनाएको छ। सबभन्दा पहिला चाङ्गो नारायण पछि शेष नारायण पछि विसुङ्गु नारायण पछि तपाईँको इचङ्गो नारायण राखेको छ लाइनै। बिचमा चाहिँ तपाईँको यमराजको चाहिँ तुराल राखेको छ यहाँ ठ्याक्कै दक्षिणतिर फर्काएर। यो यमराजको चाहिँ हटबाट अरू मन्दिरमा चाहिँ पाइँदैन, यहाँ चाहिँ राखिएको छ। अनि पछि पश्चिममा चाहिँ तपाईँको वरुणको राखेको छ। वरुण भनेपछि नागको राजा। मत्स्य नारायण, वराह, नरसिंह लाइनै मिलाएर राखिएको छ। अनि तपाईँ फेरि दक्षिणबाट अब तपाईँ उत्तर दिशा जानुभयो भने वामनको तपाईँले तुनार हेर्नुहोस् है, 3वटा खुट्टा हालेको छ। जुन चित्र छ यो कलाकारले बनाएको काठको त्यो कहीँ पनि पाउँदैन, यही चाङ्गो नारायणमा पाउँछ। कृष्णको छ, रामको, परशुरामको लाइनै मूर्तिहरू राखेको छ। पूर्व दिशामा जानुभयो भने भगवान बुद्धको मूर्ति त्यो स्वरूपमा त्यो चित्रमा जुन राखेको छ ठ्याक्कै अनुहार चाहिँ नारायण विष्णुकै राखेको छ। स्तुपा समाधि रहेको छ, तपाईँले त्यहाँ हेर्नुहुन्छ। त्यो चाहिँ हाम्रो के भन्छ नारायणजी चाहिँ हाम्रो यो बुद्ध भगवानको स्वरूपमा राखेको छ।
हाम्रो चाङ्गो नारायण भने विष्णु धर्म अथवा वैष्णव धर्मको मुख्य थलो हो भनेपछि त्यसलाई चाहिँ फेरि बुद्धिस्टहरूले चाहिँ तपाईँको भने लोकेश्वरको रूपमा पूजा गर्छन् त्यहाँ होइन। भनेपछि बुद्धिस्ट र हिन्दूको एउटा चाहिँ संयोजन, धार्मिक संयोजनको साथसाथै त्यहाँबाट आउने त्यो कलशलाई वा चाहिँ नारायणको प्रतीकात्मक स्वरूपलाई हनुमान ढोका ल्याउने र चाहिँ कुमारीले समेत दर्शन गर्ने र कुमारीको दर्शन जो त्यहाँ आफ्नै किसिमको विधि परम्परा छ र त्यो कलशको दर्शन गर्नलाई त्यहाँका अरू अब के अरे धर्मावलम्बीहरू जो चाहिँ त्यो धर्म आस्था राख्नुहुन्छ उहाँहरू आएर चाहिँ त्यो धर्म दर्शनका कुराहरू अथवा त्यो कलशको दर्शन गर्ने परम्परा अहिले पनि छ। यसले चाहिँ एकातिर भक्तपुर र कान्तिपुरको एउटा राम्रो सम्बन्धको स्थापना गर्छ भनेपछि पछि तपाईँको पृथ्वीनारायण शाहले काठमाडौँ अट्याक गरेर नयाँ राज्य अथवा नेपाल राज्य स्थापना गर्ने सन्दर्भमा पृथ्वीनारायण शाहले यहाँ आएका चलन मैले अघि भनेको थिएँ प्रथा धर्मलाई कुनै पनि उनले चाहिँ हस्तक्षेप गरेनन्, सबैलाई स्वीकारे र एज ए स्टेट हेड रूपमा उनको वासस्थान त्यहाँ भएको नाताले चाहे मल्ल राजाहरूले पनि त्यहीँबाट सुरु गरे, त्यसपछि पृथ्वीनारायण शाहले पनि त्यो कामलाई कन्टिन्यू दिएको अवस्था पाइन्छ।
यहाँको मुख्य यात्रा भनेको वैशाखमा हुन्छ र जो यात्रा यहाँको लागि होइन कि यो चाहिँ पारी काठमाडौँ जिल्लाका दाँची, ब्रह्मखेल, थली, इन्द्रायणी, भद्रवास आदि ठाउँ पनि यो यात्रा चल्छ। हामी यहाँबाट कलश बोकेर खाली पेट हिँडेर हामी जमल पुग्छौँ, काठमाडौँ जमल पुग्छौँ। अनि जमलसम्म चाहिँ यहाँको बाजा जान्छन्। अनि जमल पुगेपछि यहाँको बाजा फर्किन्छ। त्यहाँ गुरुजीको पल्टनले हामीलाई स्वागत गर्छ। त्यहाँबाट सामान्य पूजा भएपछि हामी चाहिँ गुरुजीको पल्टन सँगसँगै हामी चाहिँ हनुमानढोका पुग्छौँ। अनि त्यहाँ जीवित देवी कुमारीको आगमन हुन्छ। अनि उहाँको उपस्थितिमा हामीले लसकुश स्वागत गरेर दरबारभित्र भित्राइन्छ र त्यहाँको पूजा पश्चात चाहिँ अनि राष्ट्र प्रमुखका हामी दर्शन गर्नु पहिला राजाका जान्थ्यौँ, अहिले राष्ट्रपतिका जान्छौँ।
कला वस्तु प्रविधिसँग गाँसिएको हाम्रो इन्ट्यान्जिबल पाटो, अभौतिक पाटो, त्यसको पूजा व्यवस्था, धर्म, आस्था, जात्रा जो अविच्छिन्न रूपले चलिआएका छन्, त्यसको मूल्य मान्यता अहिले पनि त्यहाँका जनता या समग्र ती धर्मावलम्बीहरूसित अविच्छिन्नता रूपले चलिआएको छ। र त्यो इन्टिग्रिटी, त्यो अथेन्टिसिटी, त्यो चाहिँ त्यसको समग्रमा त्यसको आउटस्ट्यान्डिङ युनिभर्सल भ्यालीलाई हामीले कायम गर्न सक्या हुनाले युनेस्कोले त्यसलाई विश्व सम्पदा सूचीमा राखेको। विश्व सम्पदा सूचीमा राख्नुको तात्पर्य पनि त्यो हो कि ती विषय वस्तु चाहिँ राष्ट्रिय मात्र नभएर अन्तर्राष्ट्रिय महत्त्वका विषयवस्तु बनुन्।
चाङ्गु नारायणमा एउटा विश्वरूपको मूर्ति छ। त्यो मूर्तिको तल पाताल लोक देखाइएको छ, नागकन्याहरू छन्। त्यसपछि पृथ्वीले दुईटा काँधमा स्त्री रूपमा पृथ्वीलाई प्रतिनिधित्व गरेका छ। काँधमा दुईटा पाइताला राखेर भगवान विष्णु उभिया छन्। त्योभन्दा माथि विभिन्न दिक्पालहरू, अन्य सूर्य चन्द्र, अझ माथि गएपछि आकाश, यिनीहरू सबैको प्रतिनिधित्व हुने गरी देवगणहरू, ऋषिगणहरू पनि देखिन्छ। र अर्जुनले चाहिँ हात जोडेर बसेको दृश्य पनि त्यसमा कुँदिएको छ। त्यो मूर्ति साउथ इस्ट एसियामै मलाई जहाँसम्म लाग्छ दुर्लभ मूर्ति हो। देब्रेतिरको चाहिँ नि केही पार्टहरू भाँच्चिएको छ, होइन भने मूर्ति धेरै नै राम्रो छ। त्यो पछि कसरी भाँच्यो भन्ने थाहा हुन सकेको छैन। मुखबाट त्यहाँ मूर्तिमा हेर्नुभयो भने एउटा मान्छे निस्किया देख्नुहुन्छ, त्यो द्याट इज कल्ड ब्राह्मण। अनि बाहुबाट, पाखुराबाट चाहिँ नि क्षत्रिय निस्केको देख्नुहुन्छ। तिघ्राबाट चाहिँ नि त्यसै गरी मान्छे, सानो सानो मान्छेको मूर्ति बनाएको छ, त्यो निस्किया देख्नुहुन्छ, जो वैश्य हो। वैश्यपछि पाइतालामा चाहिँ नि खुट्टामा हेर्नुभयो भने त्यहाँ शूद्र निस्केको भनिन्छ। त्यसरी एउटा समाजको स्वरूपलाई पनि उसले चित्रण गरेका छ। उनी सुतेका छन्। विश्वरूपको त्यो मूर्ति निकै नै उत्कृष्ट मानिन्छ। र अब त्यसलाई कसैले 7औं शताब्दी भनिन्छन्, कसैले 8औं, मूर्तिमा लेखिया छैन, तर 8औं शताब्दीतिरको हुनसक्छ भन्ने अनुमान चाहिँ नै हामीले गरेका छौँ। विश्वरूपकै अगाडिपट्टि त्रिविक्रम वामनको मूर्ति पाउनुहुन्छ। त्यो त्रिविक्रम वामन भनेको खुट्टा उचालेर एउटा आकाशतिर फर्काएको, एउटा चाहिँ नि पातालतिर फर्काएको मूर्ति पाउनुहुन्छ, जसमा हामीले अनुमान गर्दाखेरि लगभग हाराहारी 7औं 8औं शताब्दीकै 8औं शताब्दीतिरकै हुनुपर्छ भन्ने एउटा अनुमान चाहिँ गर्छौँ। 8औं शताब्दीतिरकै नरसिंहको मूर्ति पनि त्यहाँ राखेको छ। त्यो पनि सेम ब्ल्याक बासल्टको हो, तर त्यहाँ चाहिँ नि पलिसिङ पनि तपाईँको मास कलरको पलिस गरेर देख्नुहुन्छ। त्यस कारण यो तीनवटा मूर्ति विशेष उल्लेखनीय छन् भने चौथो अर्को मूर्ति पनि त्यहाँ उल्लेखनीय छ, जसलाई गरुड नारायण भनिन्छ। अब भनाइ के छ भने अब भित्र मूर्ति त हेर्न दिन्नन् है, तर त्यहाँभित्र पनि गरुडमा चढेको नारायणकै मूर्ति हो, गरुड नारायण नै हो। त्यस्तै किसिमको गरुडमा विष्णु चढेको एउटा मूर्ति छ, जो हाम्रो 10 रुपियाँको नोटमा पनि तपाईँले छापेको देख्नुहुन्छ। त्यसमा के देखाइएको छ भने विष्णुले अनि वाहनमा चढेर उडिरहेको अवस्थामा देखाउने यो प्रचलन धेरै पहिलादेखि नै छ। र यिनीहरू यो मूर्ति पनि त्यही पलिसिङको छ। अनि शास्त्रमा जस्तो शरीर बयान गरेको छ त्यस्तै, अनि हात खुट्टाहरू जस्तै अङ्ग मिलेको भन्छौँ क्या हामी। त्यो जति लामो हात हुनुपर्ने हो त्यति लामो हात छ, जति लामो खुट्टा हुनुपर्ने त्यस्तो मान्छेको खुट्टा कत्रो हुन्छ। उसले त नाइटोदेखि नै नापेर मूर्तिहरू बनाउने, माथिल्लो भाग र तल्लो भाग कति छ त्यो अनुसारको समायोजन गरेका छ। त्यसैले लिच्छवीकालीन मूर्तिहरूमा यो विशेषता चाहिँ नि उत्कृष्ट किसिमको छ।
ट्रेडिसनल जुन हामी परम्परागत रूपमा चाहिँ असाध्यै धनी भनेर जुन भन्छौँ, अमूर्त सम्पदा, अभौतिक सम्पदा, त्यो भौतिक र अभौतिक सम्पदा बिचको चाहिँ जुन एउटा लिभिङ नेचर छ, लिभिङनेस भनेर जुन हामी चाहिँ यो जीवन्त सम्पदा भन्छौँ, त्यो जीवन्त सम्पदा मध्यकालदेखि अहिलेसम्म चाहिँ कन्टिन्यू छ भनेर चाहिँ, र त्यो भएकोले गर्दाखेरि संसारमा यस्तो चिज कहीँ पनि छैन, यहाँ मात्रै छ। त्यसैले यसलाई चाहिँ संसारभरिकै मान्छेको चाहिँ सम्पत्ति हो, सम्पदा हो भनेर हामीले चाहिँ दर्ता गऱ्यौँ। भनेपछि सूचीकरण गऱ्यौँ भनेपछि त्यही रूपमा चाहिँ हामीले बचाइराख्नु चाहिँ सबभन्दा ठुलो चाहिँ दायित्व हो।
चाङ्गु नारायणको मन्दिर चाहिँ मान्देवको पालामा त्यो अभिलेख एकदम स्थापना भइसकेको, योभन्दा धेरै अगाडि स्थापना भइसकेको र लोकप्रिय र अब विशेष महत्त्व भएको मन्दिर भनेर हामी बुझ्छौँ। किन राजा आफैले विजय स्तम्भ राख्ने विशेष महत्त्वको साथ चाहिँ राजा मानदेवले त्यो ठाउँमा अभिलेख राख्नु भनेको त्यो ठाउँमा पहिलेदेखि नै भव्य मन्दिर थियो, त्यहाँ मन्दिर थियो र यो विशेष राजकीय महत्त्वको स्थान थियो, त्यो मन्दिर थियो भनेर बुझिन्छ। त्यो हेर्दा पनि त्यो मन्दिर राजा मानदेवभन्दा धेरै अगाडि बनिसकेको भन्ने बुझिन्छ। वास्तवमा त्यो स्तम्भ अहिलेको ठाउँ चाहिँ ओरिजिनल होइन, यतापट्टि तपाईँले मन्दिरको अगाडि हेऱ्यो भने सानो खण्डित अभिलेख छ, त्यहाँ भएको हुनुपर्छ त्यो अभिलेख। तर विभिन्न अब चट्याङ अथवा विशेष कारणले त्यो थल्यो र त्यो अभिलेख भाँच्यो। तर त्यति भाँचिसकेपछि पनि त्यो ढुङ्गाको अभिलेख त सुरक्षित भयो, धेरै पार्ट त सुरक्षित छ अहिले। त्यो सुरक्षित भएको कारणले त्यो अभिलेख इट्सेल्फ सुरक्षित अहिलेको अवस्थामा छ र मान्छेले अभिलेख त्यहाँको स्थानीय लोकलले पनि त्यो अभिलेखको महत्त्व बुझेकोले त्यसलाई चाहिँ क्षति हुने सम्भावना कम छ। त्यस्ता अभिलेखहरू चाहिँ हामीले यदि सुरक्षा गर्न सक्यौँ भने हाम्रो इतिहास चाहिँ कालान्तरसम्म जोग्न सक्छ। हामीले थाहा पायौँ, हाम्रा पछिका पुस्तालाई पनि त्यो हामी बचाइदिनुपर्छ।
चाङ्गु नारायण चाहिँ नि वान अफ द बेस्ट हाम्रो चाहिँ नेपालको चाहिँ नि आर्ट, आर्किटेक्चर, हिस्ट्री को लागि इम्पोर्टेन्ट साइट हो र कल्चरको लागि इम्पोर्टेन्ट साइट हो।
During Lichevi period, Changu Narayan was also known as Dola Shikhar, which refers to a mount or hill in the shape of Doli. Gopal Raj Vansavali and the Changu inscription also mention it as Changu, a Newari word that refers to swing like hill. But the evidences show that this particular place was popular as Changu Narayan from the earliest time, and the same name exists in the society till present. This two-storied temple is of basic Nepalese design with possible emphasis given to masterful ornamentation. The temple may have passed through series of restoration. The present structure was probably constructed in the 17th century. Changu Narayan is regarded as one of the masterpieces of Nepalese temple architecture. The older elements have been incorporated during the restorations.
Dai Lake in Karnali province is a geographically remote district, yet rich with untapped potential for tourism. Stepping into Dai Lake, celebrated as a treasure trove of Khas art, culture and heritage, brings a unique sense of joy. Journey begins amid its natural beauty, leading us toward Mahabu Rural Municipality. As we leave the mid-hill highway, the terrain becomes challenging, with hilly, muddy roads demanding patience and skill. Long lines of vehicles crawl carefully along the cliffs, reflecting both the difficulty of the route and the enduring devotion of Mahabu Dham. Many travelers choose to continue on foot, advancing step by step toward their destination. Passing through Channa, Dasarathe, Okharbans, Bhavsaini, Noli and Unipata, pilgrims ascend the slopes toward Lisne before finally reaching Mahabu Patan. Pilgrims from Dai Lake and nearby districts often arrive late at night, having begun their journey the previous day. The path to Mahabu Dham is thrilling, adventurous and breathtaking, made even more dramatic by the steady rain, drifting fog and steep inclines. Yet the journey itself feels uniquely rewarding. Mahabu Lake or Mahabu Dham, located within Mahabu Rural Municipality, is a remarkable place of natural beauty, religious significance, and cultural heritage. Situated at an altitude of 4,200 meters, the area is adorned with emerald lakes, grazing flocks of sheep and goats, and a sky that dances with Himalayan mist. Every year, during Janai Purnima, a grand fair is held here, drawing thousands of devotees from across the region. Mahabu Dham's spiritual importance is deeply rooted in the ancient worship of Lord Shiva, revered here as the origin site. From Mahabu Lake, visitors can enjoy magnificent views of Api and Sai Palhimal, and on clear days, even the plains of Bardia. Given its religious importance and natural splendor, Mahabu Dham holds immense potential as a religious tourism destination. Improving the rough, narrow access roads is essential for supporting this growth. Mahabu Dham is more than a pilgrimage site. It is a confluence of culture, history, faith, and nature. To truly appreciate its significance, one must visit Mahabu Lake at least once, immerse oneself in its natural beauty, and experience the serene environment that leaves a lasting impression.
Actually, when I was 16, back in 2015, I was at a music festival. This music is called bluegrass that I play, and I was at this bluegrass festival, and this person named Tara Linhart. She is amazing. You can talk to her more, but she had a fantastic project called the Mountain Music Project. And I heard this project of Nepali musicians and bluegrass musicians coming together and fusing the music. And I thought it was really, really cool to see this cross-cultural collaboration. But I really just wanted to get back to music. And so I reached out to Tara. I had an opportunity to get some funding. And I emailed her randomly. She was in Bhutan at the time. And I said, hey, I want to set up a music project in Nepal. Can you connect me with some of your buddies? And she got on a WhatsApp call and started giving me the lowdown of how awesome it was. One of the people she introduced me to was actually Prince's father, Sham Nepali. And we met in New Hampshire. And we jammed together and had a great time. And he said, oh, when you get to Nepal, you have to meet my son. He's so great. He'll play music. You'll play music together. I was like, yeah, whatever, okay. Like, every dad is going to say that about their son. Like, is it going to be great? Well, then 3 months later, I showed up in Nepal, and I had only brought a mandolin, and I wanted a guitar to write some songs on. So I called up Shamdai, and I said, hey, can I borrow a guitar? He said, yes, come meet my son. And so I met Prince in Kirtipur, and we started playing that day. And then we sat down and we started playing, and it was just like magic. It was just sort of this instant connection. That was pretty special and crazy to me that we grew up on opposite sides of the world, and there are American musicians who I don't vibe with. We don't have a connection. But me and Prince, it was just an instant connection. And so we started jamming together.
It's a love song that my great-grandfather composed. And we're going to fuse with another bluegrass love song. सानी सानी ए झिल्के नानी कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी सानी सानी ए झिल्के नानी कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी हाय हाय कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी चस्मे दाजु झिल्के मिल्के जुल्फी मात्र कोर्ने चस्मे दाजु झिल्के मिल्के जुल्फी मात्र कोर्ने दारी जुङ्गा दन्त देखाई मेरो मन चोर्ने दारी जुङ्गा दन्त देखाई मेरो मन चोर्ने नजिस्काउन हे परुलाई हाय शिवर काकी छोरीलाई नजिस्काउन हे परुलाई हाय शिवर काकी छोरीलाई सानी सानी ए झिल्के नानी कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी हाय हाय कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी जन्म दिने भगवान त हुर्काइदिने आमा जन्म दिने भगवान त हुर्काइदिने आमा कसले हेर यति राम्रो पहिराइदियो जमा कसले हेर यति राम्रो पहिराइदियो जमा सानी सानी ए झिल्के नानी कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी सानी सानी ए झिल्के नानी कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी हाय हाय कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी हाय हाय कति राम्रो कपाल कोरेकी हाय हाय कति राम्रो कपाल
Found my Nellie Kane. Well, she was living in a lonely cabin with son by another man. 5 years she had waited for him as long as a woman can, as long as a woman can. And I don't know what changed my mind, till then I was a rambling kind of love I can't explain that I had for Nellie Kane. She hired me at work that day to help her till the lands. In the afternoon we planted seeds, in the evening we held hands, in the evening we held hands. And her blue eyes told me everything that a man could want to know. It was then I realized how it'd never go, how it'd never go. And I don't know what changed my mind, till then I was a rambling kind of love I can't explain that I had for Nellie Kane. Well, many years have gone by, weeds have grown up tall. I became a father to him, and she became my all. She became my all. And I don't know what changed my mind, till then I was a rambling kind of love I can't explain that I had for Nellie Kane. No, I don't know what changed my mind, till then I was a rambling kind of love I can't explain that I had for Nellie Kane. Well, first of all, I just fell in love with Nepali culture. I love momos, I love dal bhat, I love it all. I love this beautiful country. I think our message to the world, one of them is that we want to show more people the beautifulness of Nepal. I think that from my perspective, I love Nepali folk music, but in this country, sometimes people haven't valued it. They've looked to the West for other influences. And so one of our goals is to bring up Nepali folk and fusing it. We're not just doing pure folk music, but to show that this is a vibrant, evolving history and tradition that is still relevant today. And then I also think to people abroad, and especially to Nepalis, I want to show them that they can take their instruments and their culture and they can bring it to the world, and that it's so amazing. I mean, everyone who I know that maybe they don't know so much about Nepal, maybe the only thing they know is that Mount Everest is there. But then once they try a momo, once they hear some music, then they love it. And so we want to just share this music with more people and share the cross-cultural collaboration. I know I've been saying this for a couple of years now, but because we recorded an EP for one day, and then I've been gone from Nepal for the last year, and the hard drive just sat and no one did anything with the files yet. So we finally got the files going, and we are finally working on our debut EP that will feature a lot of these songs, including the next one, which is one I wrote a couple of years ago.
Cause all day I chugga way at work and try to shove down all of the hurt. But sometimes at the end doesn't fit on the page, and my eyes just run a glaze.
Instead of just nothing at all.
'Cause when the night birds come, it's when I lose my mind. No, I can't bear this endless ticking of time.
Well, right now we really want to go abroad, and in particular my dream is to bring the band to the US, to these festivals that I grew up going to, because I think it's so cool. I love playing the music that I grew up with, but with tabla on it, and the beat is dropping. It's so awesome. But right now we've been having a little bit of trouble figuring out with the visas, especially right now, so we're working on that. And then also being abroad. It's very difficult when I've moved back to the US recently, and so when we're far away, it's hard we can't make music in the same way, but it also means that the times when we are together, I've been back for a month, are just extra special because we get to make music together.
CPN UML registers for elections, challenges parliament dissolution in Supreme Court. 80 parties registered so far. Nepal government forms high-level panel to oversee Melamchi project development. Cabinet approves committee to fast-track plan. Nepal pushes for economic inclusion and digital protection amid 16-day violence against women campaign commencement. Ancient rituals and modern pilgrims meet in Nepal's Janakpur for age-old Vibha Panchami celebrations. Amid airstrikes, U.S. officials prepare to discuss revised peace plan with Russia and Abu Dhabi. And ICC announces 2026 T20 World Cup schedule. Nepal drawn in Group C alongside England, West Indies, Italy. Hello, I am Iprulaki Singh Lama, and this is NTV World News Hour coming to you live from Kathmandu at 22 hours Nepal time. Now, the news in details. In Nepal, the main opposition CPN UML has made two major political moves ahead of the upcoming elections. The party formally registered with the Election Commission, bringing the total number of registered parties to 80. On the same day, UML filed a writ petition at the Supreme Court challenging the interim government led by Prime Minister Sushila Karki over the dissolution of the House of Representatives. The party argues that the dissolution is unconstitutional and is seeking the reinstatement of parliament. Meanwhile, the government says all political parties are now registered and election preparations are proceeding as planned, with the polls scheduled for March 5. Nepal's government has formed a high-level committee to monitor and coordinate infrastructure development in areas affected by the Melamchi drinking water project, one of the country's largest urban water supply schemes. Government spokesperson and Information Minister Jagdish Kharel said the panel will be led by the Secretary of the Prime Minister's Office to ensure interagency cooperation and faster implementation.
मेलम्ची खानेपानी आयोजना प्रभावित क्षेत्रको पूर्वाधार विकाससँग सम्बन्धित विषयमा अनुगमन, अन्तर्क्रिया लगायत समन्वय तथा सहजीकरण गर्न प्रधानमन्त्री तथा मन्त्री परिषदको कार्यालयका सचिवको संयोजकत्वमा मेलम्ची खानेपानी आयोजना प्रभावित क्षेत्र अनुगमन, समन्वय एवं सहजीकरण समिति गठन गर्ने निर्णय भएको छ। 2082 भदौ 23 र 24 गतेको प्रदर्शनका क्रममा घाइते भएकाहरूको उपचार र राहतलाई प्रभावकारी बनाउन गठित समन्वय समिति तथा गृह मन्त्रालयको हेल्प डेस्कमा काम गर्ने बढीमा 10 जना सदस्यहरूलाई मासिक 15,000 रुपैयाँका दरले बढीमा 4 महिनाका लागि खाजा तथा यातायात खर्च उपलब्ध गराउने निर्णय भएको छ।
Nepal has launched this year's 16-day campaign against gender-based violence running from November 25 to December 10. The global theme, Unite to End Digital Violence Against all Women and Girls, highlights rising online harassment targeting women. At a national event in Kathmandu, the Prime Minister urged stronger digital safety measures, domestic employment opportunities and good governance to protect women. Rights advocates called for expanded legal protection and awareness programs, stressing that tackling both online and offline abuse is now essential. In Nepal's Janakpur, the ancient city comes alive as thousands gather for the week-long Vivah Panchami festival, celebrating the legendary wedding of Sita and Ram. Streets glow with lights, temples are adorned like bridal palaces, and centuries-old rituals including Tilak, Matkor, Tharus Yagya and the grand Swayambir unfold in full splendor. Pilgrims from across Nepal and India join processions, songs and ceremonies, while local businesses see a surge in visitors. To manage the crowds, Nepal Railway has added extra trains, increasing daily services from 3 to 5, each carrying up to 3,000 passengers. The festival continues to showcase Mithila's rich cultural heritage and enduring devotion. The Ukraine security chief says efforts are underway to arrange a U.S. visit to President Zelensky this month as diplomatic talks aim to end the ongoing war. Rustam Umarov confirmed Kyiv and Washington have reached a common understanding on core terms of a proposed peace plan, though minor details remain. Meanwhile, fighting continues with Russian strikes killing 6 in Kyiv and Ukrainian attacks kill at least 3 in Russia's Rostov region. U.S. officials are also set to meet Russian representatives in Abu Dhabi to advance negotiations. Zelensky welcomed amendments to the 28-point U.S. peace plan, while the Kremlin called the changes completely unconstructive. Now, the ICC has announced the schedule for the T20 World Cup 2026, set from February 7 to March 8, co-hosted by India and Sri Lanka. Nepal's national team, the Rhinos, will compete in Group C against England, West Indies, Bangladesh and tournament debutants Italy. Elsewhere, Group A features cricket heavyweights India and Pakistan, joined by rising teams USA, Netherlands and Namibia. Analysts say the tournament offers emerging nations like Nepal and the USA a rare chance to test themselves against global giants on the world stage. Now, as Nepal joins the global 16-day campaign against gender-based violence, the focus turns to the hidden dangers women face online and offline. From digital abuse to shocking crimes in communities, the stories behind the statistics are a stark reminder that the fight is far from over. We will look deeper in our issue of the day after the break. This is NTV World News Hour. Welcome back. In Nepal, rights advocates and experts are using the global 16-day campaign against gender-based violence to spotlight the rising threat of digital abuse, particularly targeting women and girls. This year's UN theme, Unite to End Digital Violence Against All Women and Girls, has resonated strongly in the country where online harassment and discrimination continue to rise. At a national event in Kathmandu, representatives from the Women's Commission, mental health specialists and youth groups urged the government to expand digital safety programs, improve economic inclusion and confront systemic gender discrimination. Nepal has formally observed the 16-day campaign since 1997 amid persistent levels of gender-based violence. Advocates say greater digital awareness and stronger legal protection are now essential to safeguarding women both online and offline. Nepal has kicked off this year's 16-day campaign against gender-based violence observed globally from 25 November to 10 December under the slogan, Use Technology Wisely, End Gender-Based Violence. The campaign amplifies calls for justice, dignity and human rights worldwide. At a ceremony organized by the Ministry of Women, Children and Senior Citizens, Prime Minister Sushila Karki stressed that ending poverty, curbing corruption and promoting good governance are essential to reducing violence against women. She said that creating domestic employment opportunities is key to protecting women and highlighted that the rise of digital technologies has increased risks of abuse. The Prime Minister also noted that since coming to power, women have been prioritized in government appointments, reflecting the government's broader commitment to empowerment and equality.
गरिबी पनि निवारण गर्नु पर्यो, शिक्षा पनि दिनु पर्यो, समाजमा चेतना पनि ल्याइदिनु पर्यो, रोजगारी सृष्टि गर्नु पर्यो. हाम्रो सबभन्दा ठूलो समस्या भनेको अहिले त के हो भन्दाखेरि रोजगारी नपाएर विदेश जानु र सबभन्दा ठूलो ट्रबल भनेको चाहिँ विदेशमा गएर महिलाहरू प्रताडित हुनु. प्रविधि जुन आयो यो डिजिटलको प्रविधिहरू आयो यसबाट मानिसहरूलाई सुविधा त छ छोटो रूपमा भन्नु पर्दा तर यसबाट पुरुष माथि पनि हिंसा भएछन् त्यसपछि बढी मलाई लाग्छ महिलाहरूमाथि नै हिंसा भएछ.
UN Women reports that 1 in 3 women worldwide has experienced violence at least once in her life. Behind this figure lies a pattern of abuse that cuts across borders, ages and communities. We break down the numbers, revealing where the risks are highest, what the trend shows and why urgent action is needed.
It starts with a message, a threat from a stranger who knows your daily routine, or the shock of discovering your face has been digitally altered into explicit content. This is technology-facilitated gender-based violence, a surge of abuse that uses digital tools to inflict physical, sexual, and psychological harm. Globally, between 16 and 58% of women have experienced it. In the Arab states, 60% of women internet users are victims of violence in the online space. In Eastern Europe and Central Asia, that figure is above 50%. In sub-Saharan Africa, a study of 5 countries found 28% of women had experienced online violence. And in Europe and the USA, nearly 1 in 4 women report online abuse. The most common forms are sexual harassment and stalking, carried out through unwanted messages, social media posts, and tracking via GPS and applications. But the list of abuse is long and severe, from cyberbullying, hate speech, and doxing to intimate image abuse, sextortion, and deepfake exploitation. While all women are at risk, some face greater danger. 50% of girls and young women have experienced online harassment. Women of color, women with disabilities, and LGBTIQ+ individuals are also at higher risk. Women in public life are targeted to silence them. 73% of women journalists have experienced online violence, and 1 in 3 women parliamentarians in Asia Pacific have faced online attacks. UN Women warns this surge is driven by a growing backlash against women's rights, the rapid rise of artificial intelligence, and the expansion of misogynistic manosphere.
This year, Nepal's 16-day campaign against gender-based violence marks a notable shift in focus from traditional physical forms of abuse to the rising threat of digital violence. Experts warn that the digital space, once seen as empowering, has become a new frontier for exploitation and abuse, making awareness, legal safeguards, and digital literacy crucial. To take a closer look at this growing concern, Sureksha Rajak has the details.
This year's slogan for 16 days of activism against gender-based violence marks a clear shift from physical to growing threat of digital violence. The activism begins from November 25th to December 10th every year. The world this time unites under the banner "No Excuse for Online Abuse." So what is digital abuse? It is harassment, exploitation, and violence carried out through digital platforms. These acts are harder to stop because they are hidden behind anonymity, global connectivity, and spread faster. Yet momentum is growing. Governments, the United Nations, and regional organizations are stepping forward, demanding accountability, global cooperation, and enhanced digital security. The 2025 Unite campaign calls for bold action, ending impunity for online abusers, strengthening laws, empowering women and girls with digital literacy, and ensuring that online spaces are places of respect, not fear. Women and girls themselves are speaking out, often the targets. They are now raising voices of change by joining campaigns. This is more than activism. It is a reminder that women are not bearers of life, but leaders, innovators, and change makers. Women and girls are proving that the impossible can be made possible. Let's unite on the first day of the 16-day campaign to make the digital world safer for women and girls everywhere.
Now, in this context, we asked members of the public, how can gender-based violence be ended? Let's hear their responses and suggestions in today's public polls.
अभिभावक शिक्षाहरू पनि दिनु पर्यो के घरबाटै हिंसा परेको घरमा घटना छ घरेलु हिंसाका घटना त्यतिकै छन् हैन र यो कानुन पनि अहिले एकदमै कमजोर घरेलु हिंसाको कानुन पनि त्यतिकै छ लैङ्गिक हिंसाका कानुनहरू त्यस्तै छन् कानुनको कार्यान्वयन पाटो एकदमै फिटलो छ राज्यका संरचनाहरू भने जस्तो छैनन् अनि प्रहरीहरुमा पनि त्यस्तै छ किन काम गर्ने खालको मनोबलै गिरेको अवस्था छ अहिले त त्यो गर्दाखेरि राज्य नै जबसम्म चाहिँ राज्य नै लाग्दैन तबसम्म चाहिँ यो लैङ्गिक हिंसाको घटनाहरू यतिकै बढिरहन्छ
अन्त्य गर्नको लागि परिवारदेखि नै अब सम्पूर्ण व्यक्तिहरू सचेत हुनु पर्यो समाज सचेत हुनु पर्यो त्यसपछि राज्यले सचेत बनाउने कार्यक्रमहरू ल्याउनु पर्यो हैन त्यो अनुसार चाहिँ सामूहिक रूपमा प्रतिबद्धता अपनायो भने लैङ्गिक हिंसा अन्त्य हुन्छ र यसमा चाहिँ घरबाटै सुरुवात गर्नुपर्छ अब अहिले यो वास्तवमा आफ्ना छोराछोरी हैन सबैलाई घरमा पनि शिक्षित गर्नुपर्छ हिंसा नगर्नको लागि समाजमा मिलेर बस्नको लागि र यो वर्षको नारा यो प्रविधिमा आधारित हिंसाको कुरा छ यो चाहिँ प्रविधिले कसरी हिंसा हुन्छ भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ अब व्यापक रूपमा साक्षरता कार्यक्रमहरू पनि चलाउनुपर्छ
सबभन्दा कुरो सामाजिक शिक्षा नै गाउँ स्तरसम्म पुर्याउनुपर्छ हिंसा त शिक्षक वर्गबाट पनि हुन्छ तर बढी शिक्षा अहिले सामाजिक संस्कृति संस्कारले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ यो बढिरहेको अवस्था छ यसलाई मान्छेले ग्रहण गर्न सकिरहेको हुन्छ हैन त्यसको लागि सामाजिक सचेतना चाहिँ शिक्षा गाउँ स्तरदेखि नै लिएर आउनुपर्छ अनि मात्रै यसको चाहिँ उत्थान हुन सक्छ अन्यथा हामी यसै गरी कुरा गरिरहन्छौँ र अर्को केही समस्या उठाउँछौँ हामी तर त्यसको समाधान निकाल्दैनौँ त्यो सरकारले त्यो समाधानप्रति पनि जानुपर्ने अवस्था रहेको छ र हामी नारी वर्गले पनि समस्या के हो भनेर दिन सक्नुपर्ने स्थिति चाहिँ अहिले तड्कारो देखा परेको छ
पर्छ गर्नुपर्छ भनेर सबै कुरा नै मजाले प्रस्तुत गरेको छ तर व्यवहारमा पालना गर्न सकिएको छैन त्यही नै हो फरक कुरा अनि हामीले केही काम गर्दाखेरि भनेपछि अब यस्तो ठुलो प्रदेश सङ्घमा भन्दा पनि हामीले सानै जस्तो लोकल एरिया हुन्छ नि त्योदेखि नै हामीले त्यस्तै कुरा गरेर त्यही लोकल एरियादेखि नै सबै कुरा मिलाउँदै गयौँ भने यत्रो ठुलो यस्तो यो कुनै पनि प्रोग्राम कन्डक्ट गर्नुपर्ने पनि थिएन र यस्तो महिला हिंसाहरू पनि केही पनि हुँदै थिएन
मेरो विचारमा यो लैङ्गिक हिंसा विषयमा आफै सचेत हुनुपर्छ हैन महिलाले पनि सचेत हुनु पर्यो पुरुषले पनि सचेत हुनु पर्यो अलिकति जनचेतना चाहिँ जागृत हुनुपर्छ
बाउ छोरी श्रीमान श्रीमती बीच समन्वय राम्रो हुनु पर्यो हैन गर्ने घरका कामहरुमा पनि फरक पर्छ फेरि बराबर रूपमा कामको बाँडफाँड गर्नु पर्यो होइन आफ्नो परिवारमा कुलतमा फँसेको कोही छ भने त्यसले पनि त्यसबाट पनि हिंसामा बढी पीडित हुन्छन् महिलाहरू होइन त्यो पनि विचार गर्नुपर्छ
छिमेकीहरूको पनि साथ सपोर्ट लिनु पर्यो यदि छर छिमेकबाट पनि अझै पुरा हुन सकेन भने आफ्नो समाजमा कस्तो निकाय छ सानो सानो निकायदेखि लिएर त्यसमा पनि समाधान हुन सकेन भने आफ्नो समाधानको बाटो खोज्दै अदालत या कता जान सकिन्छ महिला संस्था या कुनै हिंसासँग सम्बन्धित संस्थाहरूमा गएर चाहिँ आफूले आफ्नो न्यायको लागि चाहिँ हामी पहल गर्न सक्छौँ।
प्रथम त शिक्षा नै भन्नुपर्छ गाउँ गाउँमा टोल टोलमा हाम्रो यस विशेष गरेर सहर बजारमा भन्दा अलिक गाउँ साइडपट्टि धेरै यो हिंसा अझै बढी भएको पाइन्छ यस्तो गर्नको लागि जनचेतना अभियानहरू चलाउने रेडियो टेलिभिजनबाट पनि यस सम्बन्धी विशेष एउटा कार्यक्रम जस्ताहरू बनाएर गाउँ गाउँमा देख्न हेर्न पाउनको लागि कार्यक्रम नयाँ नयाँ कार्यक्रमहरू योजनाहरू अघि सार्ने।
As Nepal marks the 16-day campaign against gender-based violence, a horrifying incident in Rohtahar highlights why the fight remains urgent. In Brindaban municipality, 25-year-old Tarima Khatun was found brutally murdered and buried inside her home. Police say her entire family, including her 1.5-year-old child, is missing, suggesting a premeditated attack. The body showed signs of severe trauma and authorities are investigating all angles, with neighbors describing the crime as exceptionally cruel. The incident has left the community in shock and sparked renewed calls for stronger legal protections, awareness programs, and action against gender-based violence. Experts say cases like this underline the need to safeguard women not only in public spaces but within their own homes, an issue this year's campaign seeks to spotlight. Janakpur comes alive as mythology steps off the pages of ancient texts, drawing crowds and devotion from near and far. Behind the celebrations, the city hums with life in the ways the festival itself only hints at. In our cover story tonight. Welcome back. In Nepal's southern plains, the ancient city of Janakpur has transformed into a living stage of mythology as thousands gather for Vivaha Panchami, a week-long festival reenacting the wedding of Sita and Ram, a cherished episode of the Hindu epic. Streets are illuminated, temples adorned like bridal palaces, and rituals dating back centuries unfold in full splendor. From processions carrying symbolic palanquins to children portraying the divine couple in traditional ceremonies, Mithila's unique marriage rites, Tilak Matkor Dhanush Yagya and the Grand Swayambar are performed exactly as described in ancient texts. The Rangabhumi grounds overflow with pilgrims across Nepal and neighboring India, many joining in festive songs that echo through the city. Local businesses report a surge in visitors, while cultural scholars say the festival, once a modest fair, has evolved into one of South Asia's most vibrant expressions of Mithila identity and devotion, reaffirming the region's living heritage. In Janakpur, Nepal, the week-long Vivaha Panchami festival brings to life the ancient wedding of Sita and Ram, drawing thousands of pilgrims from India and Nepal. The centuries-old tradition not only celebrates mythology but also nourishes enduring cultural and people-to-people ties across the Mithila region. Our colleague Rojina Rai takes a closer look.
In age-old ritual and practice that connects two immediate neighbors, Nepal and India, at the popular level. The 7-day Ram Sita Vivaha Panchami culminates Tuesday to the magnanimous end. Thousands of devotees from India as well as the Mithila region throng Janakpur Dham, the vibrant cultural and religious city in Nepal's southern plains. Falling on the 5th day of the waxing moon in November, this festival commemorates the sacred union of Goddess Sita and Lord Ram. The event has long been a metaphor for the cultural and religious harmony between the two neighbors who share popular level relation to the grassroots level. Also, sages and religious leaders from cities like Ayodhya, the birthplace of Lord Rama, arrived to attend the grand reenactment of the divine marriage. At the Janaki temple, the divine wedding ceremony unfolds amid elaborate decorations and traditional rituals. For centuries, this event has served as a cultural bridge between Nepal and India, fostering unity across borders through shared faith and heritage. Following tradition, the bridal procession carrying Goddess Sita departs from the Janaki temple, while the groom's procession carrying Lord Ram departs from the Ram temple. As per Mithila customs, the wedding rituals continue late into the night. More than a festival, Ram Sita Vivaha Panchami symbolizes the enduring cultural and spiritual ties between Nepal and India. Through devotion, ritual, and shared heritage, this celebration continues to unite two countries, reinforcing centuries-old bonds across borders.
Nepal Railway has announced additional train services to accommodate the surge of pilgrims attending the Vivaha Panchami festival in Janakpur, marking the legendary wedding of Ram and Sita. Millions of visitors from across Nepal and India are expected for the celebrations. Previously operating 3 daily trips, the railway will now run 5 round trips per day, with each train capable of transporting up to 3,000 passengers. Officials say the expanded services aim to ensure smooth travel and ground management during one of the region's largest religious festivals. Nepal's Home Minister Om Prakash Aryal says the government's top mandate is to uphold good governance and deliver national elections on schedule. Addressing a provincial security conference in Bhairava, he said the administration has stabilized conditions after a period of unrest and is now focused on ensuring a peaceful transfer of power through the ballot. Minister Aryal dismissed claims that elections cannot be held, saying the government will answer through performance. He also warned of serious revenue leakages in Lumbini province and pledged zero tolerance in enforcing financial discipline and security measures. Now, a group led by Miraj Dhungana was stopped by police from entering Singhadarbar to submit a memorandum to Prime Minister Sushila Karki. The youths demanding to meet the Prime Minister were halted at the south entrance after attempting to force their way inside without prior permission from the Prime Minister's office. When they tried to protest, police escorted them to Hanuman Stan Square, where they later staged a sit-in. Dhungana, a campaigner with the Gen Z movement, said repeated requests for a meeting with the Prime Minister were ignored. He added that their goal was to inform the Prime Minister of their demands, warning that if traditional political parties regain power in the upcoming elections, their issues may not be addressed. Nepal is set to rebuild one of its lesser-known but culturally significant heritage sites, the Bringareshwar Mahadev Temple in Sunaikot, Lalitpur. A special purification ritual was held today to launch the reconstruction of the shrine, originally built in 1610 in a traditional two-tier pagoda style. The temple was destroyed in the devastating 1934 earthquake and later damaged again during Nepal's 2015 earthquake. Mayor Chiribabu Mahajan said Lalitpur Metropolitan City will allocate full funding to restore all damaged heritage sites, calling the reconstruction of the temple a cultural responsibility. Local leaders say the temple, revered by residents for centuries and believed through historical chronicles to predate even Kathmandu's Pashupatinath complex, will be rebuilt in its original pagoda form. Foundation work begins on January 2, underscoring Nepal's wider effort to safeguard threatened cultural heritage. Ambassador of Saudi Arabia to Nepal, Saad Nasser Abdullah Abu Hamid, paid a farewell call on President Ramchandra Paudel at the office of the President Sheetal Niwas today. During the meeting, they discussed various issues concerning the relationship between Nepal and Saudi Arabia, as well as mutual interests and concerns, according to the office of the President. President Paudel thanked the Saudi ambassador for successfully completing his tenure. We will be back with updates from the international front. For now, a quick recap of the headlines. CPN-UML registers for elections, challenges parliament dissolution in Supreme Court. 80 parties registered so far. Nepal government forms high-level panel to oversee Melanchi project development. Cabinet approves committee to fast-track plan. Nepal pushes for economic inclusion and digital protection amid 16-day violence against women campaign commencement. Ancient rituals and modern pilgrims meet in Nepal's Janakpur for age-old Vivah Panchami celebrations. Amid airstrikes, U.S. officials prepare to discuss revised peace plan with Russia in Abu Dhabi. And ICC announces 2026 T20 World Cup schedule. Nepal drawn in Group C alongside England, West Indies, Italy. The United States has confirmed that officials are set to meet Russian representatives in Abu Dhabi as part of ongoing efforts to end the war in Ukraine. The announcement comes after a night of renewed airstrikes with 6 killed in Kyiv by Russian attacks and at least 3 killed in Russia's Rostov region by Ukrainian strikes. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has welcomed proposed changes to the controversial 28-point US peace plan, which European allies helped amend after concerns it favored Russia. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, not attending the Abu Dhabi talks, said Moscow has yet to receive the revised plan and expects it to reflect the spirit of the August Alaska talks between Trump and Putin. Chinese President Xi Jinping and U.S. President Donald Trump held a friendly and constructive telephone conversation on Monday. Beijing officials said, according to Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning, the leaders discussed bilateral relations, cooperation, China's stance on Taiwan, the Ukraine crisis, and other international issues. Mao described the talks as addressing matters of common concern, which Xi said are crucial for the stable development of China-U.S. relations. Analysts suggest the call signals both capitals' intent to maintain dialogue amid tensions, underscoring the strategic importance of the two nations' communication channels. Now, at least 9 children and a woman were killed after Pakistani forces bombed a house in Afghanistan's southeastern coast province. Taliban spokesperson said the strike occurred around midnight in Gurbuz district. Additional airstrikes hit Kunar and Paktika provinces, wounding at least 4 civilians. raising fears of renewed conflict along the fragile border. The attacks follow suicide bombing in Peshawar, which targeted Pakistan's Parliamentary Federal Constabulary, intensifying already tense relations between the two countries. The cross-border violence underscores the fragility of ceasefire efforts and the urgent need for renewed diplomatic engagement. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended a Hindu flag hoisting ceremony at Ram Mandir in the northern town of Ayodhya to mark the formal completion of the temple's construction. The temple was built on grounds where a mosque stood for centuries before it was torn down in 1992 by Hindu zealots incited by members of Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party, BJP. During the ceremony, Modi described the event as a moment of cultural pride and the fulfillment of a centuries-old aspiration for Hindus. The occasion has drawn both praise from supporters as a historic milestone and criticism from opponents who see it as a symbol of religious and political polarization in India. Chinese scientists have uncovered the reason behind the unusually cohesive lunar swirl brought back by the Chang'e 6 mission from the moon's far side. Unlike samples from the near side, the soil is notably sticky and clumpy, sparking intense curiosity among researchers since the mission's 2024 return. A team from the Institute of Geology and Geophysics Chinese Academy of Sciences conducted experiments including funnel and drum tests to measure the soil's angle of repose, a key indicator of how granular materials flow. The results reveal the far side soil behaves more like cohesive terrestrial soil due to its finer texture, explaining its unusual clumping. The study, published in Nature Astronomy, provides new insights into the geological differences between the near and far sides of the moon, offering clues for future lunar explorations. Now, pianist Julian Cohen staged a record-breaking flash mob near Place de la Concorde, bringing together 300 musicians and 150 technicians for a full-scale YouTube production. Following the viral success of his Bohemian Rhapsody performance, Cohen, alongside his brother Chris's duo violin Phoenix, pedestrianized a street and deployed 50 cameras to capture 5 diverse performances, including a batucada, string ensemble, children's choir, and the Republican Guard. Cohen declared that they are breaking every record as the ambitious musical spectacle combined professional choreography with a large-scale street performance. The event drew a crowd of astonished onlookers who joined in the celebration of music and spectacle. Now, lined up after the short break is the business news. Do stay tuned.
Investment in Nepal's industrial sector is on the rise. According to the Department of Industry, while 700 industries were registered in the previous fiscal year, 281 industries have already been registered in the first 4 months of the current fiscal year, with a total investment of over 7.4 billion rupees. These new industries are expected to create more than 15,600 jobs, with investments coming from both domestic and foreign investors. Currently, Nepal has a total of 10,219 registered large, medium and small industries, providing direct and indirect employment to around 1 million people. Rajeshwar Gewali, Director General of the Department of Industry, says the government is promoting investment by offering subsidized loans, facilitating industry registration and providing tax exemptions for exporters. However, challenges remain, including high cost of raw materials, transport, political instability, protests and strikes, which continue to affect the sector. London's pubs are bracing for a potentially devastating blow from the upcoming UK budget, warning that soaring costs and taxes could force many to shut their doors. The industry is already struggling with the sharp rise in energy bills, up around 80% compared to last year, and higher labour costs following increases in the national minimum wage and employer national insurance contributions. On top of this, business rates relief has been cut, and new packaging taxes are further squeezing margins, leaving many publicans struggling to stay profitable. The British Beer and Pub Association estimates that the average pub is losing around £14,000 a year due to these pressures, prompting widespread price hikes. Pub owners are calling on the government to reform business rates, reduce national insurance burdens, and provide targeted support.
Bitcoin believers were out in force this weekend at a Sydney event.
It's an exciting asset class.
A lot of governments are obviously acquiring Bitcoin, and then you have your retailers that are kind of picking it up too.
The cryptocurrency hit an all-time high in October, but then sentiment was rocked when Donald Trump announced an extra 100% tariff on Chinese goods, creating anxiety in financial markets. The price of Bitcoin plunged and is now down roughly 30% since its peak.
I suspect that what's behind it is a growing perception on the part of people who've previously bought Bitcoin that it has run way ahead of any plausible interpretation of its potential value.
Indebted investors have been forced to sell out, and an exodus of cash from exchange-traded funds has accelerated the slump.
The price of Bitcoin climbed roughly 4% over the weekend. Analysts say after all the negative news, a hint from the US central bank that it might cut interest rates at its December meeting enticed investors to jump back in.
Obviously, the Trump administration will be putting considerable political pressure on the Fed to cut rates.
You can see as behind me there's a lot of good people and a lot of good companies behind supporting this cause.
Despite the risks, for some, riding the wave is enough. David Taylor, ABC News.
Time for sports update. The International Cricket Council, ICC, has released the full schedule for the T20 World Cup 2026, set to be co-hosted by India and Sri Lanka from February 7 to March 8. Nepal's national team, the Rhinos, has been placed in Group C alongside England, West Indies, Bangladesh and newcomers Italy, offering the team a high-profile platform to compete on the world stage for the second consecutive tournament. Meanwhile, several other promising cricketing nations will be closely watched. In Group A, India will open the tournament against the USA at Mumbai's Wakande Stadium on February 7, with the group also featuring Pakistan, the Netherlands and Namibia. With the two top teams from each group advancing to the Super 8 stage, cricket fans worldwide will be following both established powerhouses and rising teams, including Nepal, as they aim to leave their mark on the T20 World Cup. Analysts in Nepal say the facing global giants like England and West Indies will be a tough challenge, but a major opportunity to showcase the country's growing cricket talent. Now, in a commanding display at the ACC Men's Under-19 Premier Cup in Ajman of UAE, Nepal Under-19 beat Saudi Arabia Under-19 by 8 wickets. Saudi Arabia, batting first, posted 218 for 9 in 50 overs, but Nepal's chase was emphatic. Neeraj Kumar Yadav smashed a brilliant 114 off just 90 balls, anchoring the innings. He was well supported by Vans Chetri and a calm, unbeaten Nishal Chetri, who finished with 66 not out. Nepal reached their target in only 30.4 overs, maintaining a brisk run rate of over 7. The win boosts Nepal's chances as they look to advance through the group stage of the tournament. The team next plays Hong Kong on 27th of November. Now in Nepal Premier League cricket action, Kathmandu Gorkhas secured their second win of the tournament. At the TU cricket ground today, Kathmandu posted 158 runs and then restricted Lumbini Lions to 135, winning by 22 runs. With this victory, Kathmandu now has 4 points from 4 matches, keeping their playoff hopes alive. Lumbini, meanwhile, suffered their second loss in 3 games. Tomorrow, Viratnagar Kings will face Chitwan Rhinos in the next NPL clash. With both teams holding 2 points, today's match is crucial for momentum in the tournament. Now the highs and lows, first from across Nepal and then the world. Now, before wrapping up, let's take a look into the headlines once again. CPN UML registers for elections, challenges parliament dissolution in Supreme Court. 80 parties registered so far. Nepal government forms high-level panel to oversee Melamchi project development. Cabinet approves committee to fast-track plan. Nepal pushes for economic inclusion and digital protection amid 16-day violence against women campaign commencement. Ancient rituals and modern pilgrims meet in Nepal's Janakpur for age-old Vibha Panchami celebrations. Amid airstrikes, US officials prepare to discuss revised peace plan with Russia in Abu Dhabi. ICC announces 2026 T20 World Cup schedule. Nepal drawn in Group C alongside England, West Indies, Italy. That is all for the moment. Do join us through our social media and visit us at nepaltelevision.com for more information and news. I am Ipulagi Singh Lama. Thank you for watching. Good night.